Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. What a fantastic... it makes me feel like Carson when I come out here. It's David Lefkowitz. It's like, boom. And Meg is my darling and adorable wife who is helping out on the sticks there, as well as all the other necessary noises, implements that and objects that make this program what it is. And what is this program? It's called Dave's Gone By, and it has aired almost basically weekly with some breaks in between since October of 2002. So we're approaching the beginning of our 24th year in the Daverhood, which is insane. Not to mention approaching our 1,000th episode. We're at 995. Literally, we are just 5 more episodes or 4 more away from our 1,000th one of these. What is this? It's humor, it's interviews, it's culture, it's nonsense, mostly nonsense. Basically, it is a weekly excuse for nonsense, for just passing the time, making some jokes, making a lot of jokes, making the occasional good joke, which my wife is nodding, which almost makes up for all the relentlessly terrible and desperate jokes that I make on this program. But perfect. That was just perfect. I may need this today. It was a week of ups and downs, certainly. But here's my little tiny violin that I will play for you as needed when something requires tears. I want to, it's playing on its own, ladies and gentlemen. It's the haunted violin. Well, it's because it's sitting on top of it, so. I wonder how long this goes. And I can't find my handkerchief. This really goes on for a while. All right, stop. My God. Jeepers. It's like that adagio for strings. It just goes on. Anywho, so, yeah, we have a regular kind of a show for you, but a great one, a fun program. Because, yes, we'll be doing this crazy, idiotic, like, let's play a violin nonsense. Plus, we will have, yes, I'm going to dive back into it. I'm going to have our beloved Jewish Rabbi Sol. Oh, speaking of Jewish, here's the official Jewish space laser of the program. Wow, that's oh, that's right, it makes all these different. Wow, so your car alarm's going off. We're going back to Spock Messiah later in the program. Rabbi Sol actually read did he get through all of chapter 1? I think he did. Yeah, we made it through all of chapter 1 of a Star Trek novel called Spock Messiah by Theodore R. Cogswell and Charles A. Spano Jr. So Rabbi Sol will read a little bit more. Here's my guy. So that'll be some fun. That's our story time segment, which I always enjoy because I don't have to do any work. It's basically the book's already written, we just make fun of it. And then what else speaking of having some fun with stuff that other people have written, there's also Greeley Times, because my wonderful wife and I lived in Colorado for a little over a decade. And while we were there, a couple of things. First, the newspaper there, the Greeley Tribune, which covers like Evans and Johnstown and Greeley, Colorado, up there in the north of the state, has a weekly fun, intentionally funny column called Coplog. And all it is, it's literally the phone calls that come into the Greeley and Weld County Police Department from people who see something problematic or they think is weird or scary going on in the neighborhood. They call the cops, like, send the policeman, this is happening. And we're not talking about the shootings and the real actual crime or sad stuff. We're talking like people who themselves may have some problems, or who note something really kind of funny, ridiculous happening around them and register that with the police. Police take down the info, the newspaper takes out all the identifying information and puts the funniest ones in a weekly column that they call Cop Log and we call Greeley Times. So yes, we have some Greeley Times for you today on this Saturday, August 16th, 2025. Speaking of Colorado, we have a Colorado Limerick of the damned, my friends, because I also got it into my head when my wife and I were living in Colorado to write a poem about as many places in the state as I possibly could, a 5-line limerick poem. And the rules are, you know the rules. Lines 1 and 2 rhyme with lines 5. Lines 3 and 4 rhyme with each other. And they're supposed to be humorous, risque, in my case, disgusting and evil. So yes, we have, you've just gotten so good with that. We have a new Colorado Limerick of the Damned for a place called Calhan, Colorado. Calhan, Calhan, Colorado. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and then read our evil Colorado Limerick of the Damned poem devoted to Calhan, Colorado. That's almost enough for a really good show. Because we'll also do Friends of the Daverhood, where we tell you what people who've been on this program over the years are doing and have been doing. Yeah, we're doing that. We'll also talk about some stuff that's gone on in our lives over the week. Sure. But the cherry, if you will, and think of the color red, on top of the cake here is going to be our guest in the Daverhood. She is a songstress named Carole J. Bufford. There's this petite redhead cutie of a thing. She's been singing for well over a decade now in places like 54 Below and the cabaret conventions. And she's won a couple of awards, including the Cabaret Bistro Award that was for a while run by our friend of the Daverhood, Sherry Eaker, over at Backstage. And she kind of still runs the bistros, even though they're separated now from the newspaper itself. But she won one of those, right? And she won a couple of other cabaret and singing awards. You can see her now, Carole J. Bufford, that is, in Florida, in Sarasota, Florida, where all the Jews still are until late October. She is appearing in a show called Too Darn Hot, a show that she wrote and conceived using classic numbers. And she'll tell you about the whole idea of it. But it has to do with summer songs and songs of the night, if you will. It's gotten great reviews. She always gets great reviews. And she's quite a spark plug. So if you want to meet, if you will, by this show, Carole J. Bufford, you can, because she will be our guest in the Daverhood in just a little while, talking not to me. That pleasure goes to the great Rabbi Sol Solomon, whom we've mentioned before. Rabbi Sol does our rabbinical reflections when we have his little sermons. He also is doing our story time this week. He's the guy reading Spock, Messiah, and he will be doing the interview with Carole J. Bufford. So lots and lots of reasons to stick around for this 995th edition of Dave's Gone By that we're calling In the Buff, and we're here for you. So we're going to get started just talking about stuff for In the Buff. So you'll hear me. I am trying not to cough up phlegm, even though one of these segments I did. That's what I want to talk about. Even though one of the segments on the show is called My Old Phlegm, which I did a couple of times. My wife is not a fan of the segment. I don't think anybody's a fan of the segment. But for a couple of times, I think I was getting over a cold, especially for long COVID, and I do this show at like 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and maybe get up. Sometimes I get up at 5, sometimes I get up at 7 or 8. So I'm a 61-year-old Jewish man, like, and phlegm will come out. And rather than my wife is just going, oh, no, stop it. Going to the bathroom or getting off camera or playing, cutting to commercial. I will share it with you. In fact, I will show it to you and read it like tea leaves, which I think is a very funny idea. Again, many of you may not. However, it is not fun, especially since I'll be back teaching in a couple of weeks, to have phlegm in the morning where you're trying to talk and literally it keeps you from finishing a sentence and you're and you're raspy. So we're looking up what to do. How do you conquer the phlegm thing without taking pointless Western medicine or stuff that I don't need in my system? And we looked up somewhere and my wife found, apparently, they say this is true and so far it is working. I'm going to say the word kumquats. I'll say it again, kumquats. She read that because they're small and citrusy and they've got the little wrapper on them, you pop them in. It's like eating an orange with the skin still on, but you can still eat the skin in a way that you wouldn't really do that with an orange. So there's this tiny little orange, I should have brought one up, orange, like one of those grape tomato size. It looks like a grape tomato, only it's orange.
It's a kumquat.
It is a kumquat, yes. And
they're very supposed to be good, yeah.
And so we bought a little container. They sort of come like grape tomatoes, and bought a thing of kumquats. And the idea is I have a kumquat now every morning, and I go boom and chew it. It just doesn't go down the hatch. I choke to death. You chew it, you get the citrusy juice out of it, which is very much like a really tart orange. If you were to, I'm telling you, if you were to peel kumquats and put that in a blender or just put the juice over poultry or something, you would think it was just orange. It wouldn't occur to you, or maybe a little bit of a little more bitter or tart than an orange, but not quite approaching a, oh my God, I can't think of a pamplemousse. What is that?
Grapefruit.
A grapefruit, thank you. That's what it is. So I've been popping one down, and while it hasn't cured me from coughing and feeling some phlegm, so far, the last couple of days, I have not been projectile expectorant, shall we say. I haven't been in a crowd of people, waiting for coffee at Starbucks or going around Target and standing next to someone and then hawking a load of phlegm on the back of their neck. Not that I've ever done that. It's something it is on my bucket list that I do want to do if I don't have a bucket handy. And I'm like, what shall I do today when I'm 97 years old? I think I'll go hawk some phlegm on someone and see how they react. And then just go, sorry, and see would they punch a 97-year-old man, or just turn around and say, can't help you to your seat. But for now, they're working, and it just makes me think. It is one of the funniest names of a fruit ever. Funny to the point where I told my wife the only time I ever hear of these things is that classic W.C. Fields skit. I believe it's in the movie It's a Gift, where I think right in the beginning of the film, he's the proprietor of a goods and sundry shop, like an early version of a supermarket. So they're selling everything. They're selling tools and hardware and food and bales of hay, and so it's all in one shop, and he's the curator, he's the manager of the place. And it's one of those mornings, there's kids running around causing trouble, there's a guy who asks for a bag of kumquats, and every time Fields is about to help him and get him the fruit, something else distracts Fields, and he has to pay attention to it. In particular, and most tastelessly and famously, a blind man named Mr. Muckle, who's waving his cane around and smashing everything in sight, including, of course, a giant bin of light bulbs. And while he's dealing with this, the guy is still at the counter saying, "Where are my kumquats?" Because Fields just loved funny words or funny sounding words. And let's face it, kumquat is a funny sounding word. And before you say anything else, it's spelled with a K. So don't even go there. You have to admit I was good. You have to admit when we bought them, and I think we bought them at the grocer that we usually go to, and I was at the counter, I was this close to saying, here, buying these kumquats, but I want to make sure they have extra cum. Did I say it? I did not say it. I was a good boy for once. I did not do that, as I always do, to go for the reaction, to get someone looking a little bit embarrassed and but also trying to chuckle underneath and just putting them in that position to say, he just said that. I'm not allowed to really respond, but I can give him a little nod and wink. It's like, yes, I know it's a funny and dirty sounding word. Oh. uh, I don't know if this is on my.
This is a very old one, though.
Oh, all right. So we have a preview here of Greeley Times, which we'll be doing in just a little bit. This is an old Greeley Times that I'm sure we must have done on the show. Oh, it's not a chicken alert. Let's just have one more chicken. Oh, it is a chicken alert. I'm sorry. My brain is not working. We need noise. Chicken alert! So these are the kinds of items that show up in the Greeley Tribune. This one, which there it is, was shared by actually a former colleague of mine back in 2019.
You know what he does now?
Is he retired?
He gives out samples in Costco.
Really?
He's a sample bro, yeah.
Is that what a sample bro is?
Yeah.
Is he doing it for fun?
No, he gets paid.
I get that, but is that? Why would he do that? I mean, unless he's a real people person.
Yeah, he probably is.
Really?
Yes, I didn't make it up.
No, I see him using, I'm not going to say the name of this person. I see him using that sample bra thing. I don't know what it meant.
He's at a big box store. He's giving out samples.
I guess he's enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he worked for all those years retired in academia.
He told the lady who was grumpy who worked there before that when he retires, he's going to take over her job and do it, and he did.
Oh, so it's probably a dream job? Then you got to understand, this was a high-level academic, man. He wasn't a dean. I mean, he didn't go up to, like, president of a university or anything, or provost. But, he reached headness of his department and, for a few years and kept teaching after a while. And now he's at a big box store handing out, maybe that's what I'll do, Maybe that's what I'll wind up doing. But anyway, this goes back to 2019. That's really, I don't know if I'm depressed or amused. Oh, you want to read it?
No, you read when you're done reading it, I need it back.
Yeah, well, yeah, let me read it. So this goes back to 2019 in the Greeley Tribune from their cop log back then. Actually, back then it was still probably called
Crimes in Old Times.
Police blotters, yeah.
Police blotter.
Yeah. Well, our segment was Crimes in Old Times. So here we go. Police responded to the 2400 block of 10th Avenue Court. By the way, this is what I do for you people. This is what I do. When I read the best of Greeley Times, best of cop log, I'm actually I'm making the effort to remove the cross streets so that it doesn't take me extra time to read. And you hear like an intersection that you don't need to know. I just have one street. This is the time that I put in to making this show better so that you don't have to listen to 2400 block of 10th Avenue Court. Police responded to that area for a report of a man driving golf balls into his neighbor's yard. Okay. The man threatened to kill the caller's chickens when she asked him to stop. And then the professor guy, his response was, so was he aiming at the chickens? Which is pretty funny.
I think he was, don't you?
So that was of course a chicken alert.
He was aiming at the chickens? I think so.
And a preamble that was a preview of Greeley Times that we'll get to, where, again, that was about 6-7 years old, that particular item. The items we'll read for you were just over the last 2-3 weeks. So exciting, brand new stuff just for you in the Daverhood on Dave's Gone By. But what else can we talk about? I gotta say, my wife, my wonderful, adorable wife, is a baller. She is a real, competent, smart, capable, helpful, all those kinds of things and more. Because you did 2 things for me this week. One of which yesterday is basically save my life in a figurative way of showing me the actual positive uses and very, very unavoidable, but in a great way, uses of, and I hate to say it, AI, artificial intelligence. We're both professors. Right? Well, I mean, she's a real professor. I'm an adjunct piece of shit, but we both teach, right? And we're both writers. She's written books. I've written a book or two and like unpublished stuff, and I've had plays done. So AI has been the enemy. It has been the anathema of any creative writing person. And then I realized that I have this massive, daunting, ridiculous amount of work that I have to do for this coming semester. And this just, this thing just went right into my lap. And I'm like, how? These things I never have done before. It involves a tremendous amount of reading and backing up on creating this and creating lessons of this and that. I'm like, there's no way. There is no way in hell. And then my wife comes and she says, well, if you design it and we tell AI, please design this, include this, map it out and do it detailed, and you give it like a minute and a half. It will basically save you 3 weeks of work in about 5 seconds. And as much as old me would have bristled, that's not mine. I'm letting this machine take over. I'm letting the machine take over. It's great. It's fab. Why should I spend hours and hours coming to the same basic outline of things that this machine will? And she's like, go for it, And I was like, you saved the day. You saved my semester, literally allowing me to design or allowing the machine to design what I need to use. And then I can go in week by week, day by day, and do this, boom, boom. Still, there's an onus on me to do some work, but not a lot of work. I'm not paid enough to do a lot I am not paid enough to do the work that I thought I would have to do. I'm still not paid enough to do the work that I'm doing. But so there's more parity now that the computer will do for me what is necessary. And no, it's not anything I'm going to be publishing, and no, it's not anything creative or I'm not that. This is simply stuff to help me do what I have to do. So I thank my wonderful wife for that. But then, perhaps even more important than this, her like, you know what? In this world, you need to get what you deserve, right? So much is taken away from us, so much we were disappointed by, this doesn't happen, we want this, we don't want this. So we go for a meal. I think it was yesterday, must have been yesterday. And we go for a nice breakfasty kind of meal because we've had a busy week and running around and grab some stuff. So we order from this very, very popular breakfasty kind of place in, fairly local to us. And that is known for good food. We've eaten there once at a different chain of the same store, and the food is really good. So we order, and she orders, of course, something really, really healthy. It was an egg white omelet with veggies in there. And I order my typical, middle-aged Jewish, I don't give a shit about my body breakfast, which involves pancakes, eggs, scrapple, which I've never tried before. So, of course, I see that on the menu. I'm like, I am trying scrapple, right? Because only time I've ever really heard of it was Alan Sherman name-checking it in Grow Mrs. Goldfarb, Philadelphia scrapple. What the hell is it? But I knew it was meaty in some weird way. I knew there was some pig in there. So, you had me at that. Scrapple and bacon, 2 versions of pig. I'm in. And that was just like a big breakfast. You got like 3 eggs, which I don't even want that many, or any eggs. I want the pancakes. Eggs, pancakes, scrapple, bacon, and waffle fries. Not too shabby. And certainly the kind of breakfast you would expect that, a 40-year-old diabetic man would be ordering. But I can have it every once in a while. And I get there, and we open our packages. It looks delish. She starts eating her omelet's great. My pancakes are good. Very, very good. Yes, you can't fuck up pancakes unless you actually burn them. It's virtually impossible to screw up My mom my mom used to make pancakes and would get so bored trying to make proper, small, thin, likable, stackable pancakes. Now, essentially what she learned to do was pour the entire stack of batter into one skillet and make one giant pancake, which was honestly not much fun to eat, but tasted exactly the same as the smooth, fluffy, little stackable, size of a record album pancakes that you get at a restaurant. I can't blame her. In retrospect, I'm like, well, no, of course they won't. Just pour it all in and wait, and then flip it before it burns, and then serve it. Just add extra syrup because it gets pretty thick, and you're good. Why, the thing with pancakes, you pour, you do a little this, then you flip, one person gets to eat while the next one's waiting. If you wait till everyone has at least a pancake, the first couple have already gotten cold because they're sitting on the plate. Nah! One big pancake, fine. But this is not what they do in restaurants. So they do this regular nice pancakes at this restaurant we order from. The waffle fries, little crunchy and dried out, but really good, really good. And the scrapple's yummy. The scrapple, it turns out to be, maybe they do them differently everywhere, but they almost look like steakums. They're just rectangles, and it's a sausage patty. But instead of the round sausage patties or sausage links, it's basically a patty of sausage, very tasty, no problem. But then I'm picking up my pancake, of course with my fingers, and I'm moving the scrapple around, and I'm taking the fries over here. Where's my bacon? Where's my bacon? Mostly, half the time when I'm ordering anything anywhere, it's an excuse to have bacon. Half the time when I'm ordering a hamburger, it's like, does it come with bacon? Okay, well, give me a burger, right? If I go for a bagel, most of the time it's like, you know what? I don't need a smear of anything. I don't want the crab melt, and I don't want a pizza melt. I don't want a sandwich. You know what? Just put some BLT on. Put a little bacon on the bagel. I'm a reasonably happy camper. So now I'm opening this breakfast. That's like $15, $16 because that's what food is nowadays. And I'm like, here's my stuff. Where's my bacon? Where's my bacon? And it's annoying because we're not in the restaurant. We take it out to go. And so it's not like I can just say, hey, waiter, sorry, but you forgot the blah, blah, blah. We're actually in the car having the meal because we're going somewhere else. And, I parked. I'm not sitting there trying to eat pancakes while driving. It's like, I'm on I-86, like, it's dry. Let me add some syrup.
That'd be dangerous.
Yeah. So we're sitting in the car, and we're like 2 blocks from the actual restaurant. And I'm like, And my wife is like, well, what's the matter? I was like, there's no bacon. Did they give you the bacon? Is there another thing in the bag they gave us? And she's like, no bacon. Well, you should call and tell. And I'm me being always the conflict-averse Jew. I'm like, whatever. I'll leave them a bad review on Yelp. It's just fine. And then she's like, no, you love bacon. There's no bacon here. I'm like, I know there's no bacon. Look, it's got scrapple. I got all the pig I want. I'm fine. There's certainly more than enough food for me. There absolutely was. I was basically full. But then she's like, look, it came with a meal. It's a big stock of whatever breakfast. You're entitled to your bacon. I'm like, yeah. Meanwhile, I'm eating in the car. I've got a bib on. I've got a tray on my lap. I'm cutting into. I'm like, I don't want to deal. So my beloved, amazing wife gets out of the car.
I'm a ballabuster, right?
Goes no. Ballabuster means you like busying around the kitchen and getting into things. It's not ball buster, but
what am I?
You're what do you call it? You're a baller, or what's it? You're a not a type A. I don't know what that is, but you get what's coming to you, or what you feel deserve. Yeah, it's not something I pay for. It's something I wanted, And you go, and while I'm sitting there just kind of eating, she gets out of the car, walks over to the restaurant. Oh no, we called. Did we call first?
I called first.
She called first. She called the restaurant, talked to the front desk manager person, and said he didn't get his bacon. And the first guy was, are you sure?
I said, was it under, did you look and see if it was in a container under everything? And I said, I would have seen it.
Yeah.
I would have noticed that.
Because I'm sure that does happen. People think they've taken everything out of the bag and they start eating and they don't realize. But no, we looked, we checked. It wasn't hiding under an egg. It wasn't sort of going in between the scrapples to kind of just have a swim. No, there was no bacon. And so she calls up, she tells him, please, no, there's no bacon in the bag, and we didn't miss it, and we're not lying to you. Could you kindly?
And he liked the soft bacon. I said he wants the soft bacon.
Yeah, my personal preference most of the time when I have bacon, like a good Jew, is I don't like it like extra crispy and brittle. I like bacon that has some play to it. It's meaty rather than crunchy. That's my personal so forth, whatever. So and that's how we ordered it. We literally told the guy when we ordered, the different guy, but when we ordered the meal, soft bacon, not too crispy.
People are posting pictures of catching a game ball at a baseball game. Have you ever done that?
I've never caught a game ball.
Okay.
My luck, if I caught a game ball at a baseball game, I catch it in the nose.
Oh, God.
So we call up and she says, oh, the guy then became very apologetic. He says, so sorry. You're absolutely entitled to it. Are you nearby? We'll give you your bacon. So my wife gets up, goes to the restaurant, brings the box of bacon back. And at this point, again, because I am a middle-aged Jewish man and me, I'm really full. I am full from breakfast. I don't want any more food. But as soon as I see bacon, I'm like, I have room. I'm like, bacon. And I open the bacon, and it is not soft. It's actually crispy, but it's very good. But the point is, whatever that contributed to the rather high cost of the meal, $4 or $5, let's say, we paid it, I'm entitled to it, and I eated it. And it was very nice. And it would have been nice to have with the meal. It was perfectly nice after the meal. But I credit you, It's the kind of thing I would do if I were in the restaurant. And I go to the waiter and I say, oh, please, you forgot the bacon. Oops.
But the thing is, we're not being mean. We're just getting what we want.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like it's not like there was the product and we want more. It's like it was missing. So it's like they should know because there'd be an extra order in their kitchen. So they should know. My thing is when I say this, it's not mean. It's just do your job. I don't expect people to do extra. But your job is to read the thing and put everything that we need in there.
And get it right.
Yes.
Get it right.
Yeah.
What is the place that is known for getting the order wrong
It happened
constantly?
once in the bagel place and we fixed it. But
yeah,
I think a lot of places do because they're just, and what scared me when we went there, not scared me, but they were looking for servers and stuff. When people are always looking for employees, it means they have high turnover. So people don't know what they're doing. They're being trained. So I was like, oh, that,
Yeah. I mean, the place is very, very busy all the time.
Delicious. It's a chain, so they have standards. But the one we went to in Columbia or Kingsville,
I think,
the sea was much better.
Yeah. Not that place was
The
good.
server was they were slow serving,
Yeah. I just think they're slammed and they're not necessarily hiring enough cooks or they don't have enough room for enough people to make and properly order the food. That everybody's.
That's what I don't understand, but I guess there's a way. But if you're I would think if you're constantly training new employees how to make the food and do stuff, they're not. They're not the most seasoned, so they probably don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Although the food was well seasoned, I'll give them that.
Oh, well, that's because they're following it's a chain.
Well, do they have? Or is it only? We have two locally, but there's more all over
all over, they're all over.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I don't know if it's just Maryland. I could look it up.
Yeah. I mean, we could give their name. I'm not
No,
deliberately, but sure.
And the guy was nice, he was but this is the sad part, okay?
What?
He's trying oh, what, how you doing? I don't like when people have fake manager.
Well, no, you have to make believe you give a shit. Does this man really care?
Yeah.
In his heart of hearts, and I'm not getting my bacon.
No, but you could complain and be whatever.
I mean, I could do a thing on I could call the management. I could say.
So it's just all over. there too. Okay.
Oh, really?
It's all over Maryland. It's a Maryland entity.
Cool. So they are a
About
chain, but
5
they're
of them, yeah.
maybe they'll expand further.
It says the homes of our legendary hospitality, except if you want a full order.
Oh, hey, speaking of
What?
chain, well, it's not even a chain anymore.
What?
I don't know if I mentioned this last time. Do you know what is coming back?
What?
I think in just one store
Friendlies?
on Long Island.
Friendlies?
I think, no, that's
Alexander's?
no, but you're in the right, absolutely right area.
Times Square?
I mean, now I get all my clothes at Home Goods and Marshalls.
Loman's?
Loman's!
How can that come back? I thought they were in bankruptcy.
Loman's is not where we lived, but I think they're building one, or rebuilding, or making an outlet, or whatever they're doing. They brought Loman's back, and you thought everything is going to hell, and you thought nothing good was happening in 2025. That it's all been just politically disastrous and socially disastrous, and Loman's might just be coming back. Well, I mean that just trumps. Forgive that word, but that just makes a better light on everything. It's rose-colored glasses, if you will. So there's that news. What else is happening? What else is so this is somehow my wife has people in her life who could get away with major crimes if we wanted to. Could absolutely get away. Because we watch all these reality shows about, not reality shows, but documentary series about kidnappings and missing children and murders and murder-suicide, all these things going on. And they're trying to get people by their DNA. They're trying to get clues, right? Well, two of the major men in my wife's life could get away with anything. Because
that's so weird, yes.
her father, a few years ago, when everybody was doing the 23andMe kit thing, I did it. You know, you take, if you've ever, you must have. You take the tube, you drool into it.
Oh, God.
No, you can do it. We all can do it.
I know,
You go,
but it's the way you said it. It's kind of...
You dribble into it and then put the stopper on, you mail it in, and you think that's bad. You did Cologuard. So you put the drool in the thing, you mail it, and then they tell you everything about your genetic background, the kind of people you're related to, what region of the universe you come from. Amazingly enough, I'm 98.9% Ashkenazic Jewish, and maybe like 0.1% African. I don't even remember what the hell. I mean, it was so obvious I was from Russia/Poland. Both sides completely Yid, right? And you come from different regions.
Italian, French, German, Spanish, and then from my father, a little Ashkenazi.
A little bit.
And then I think, I don't know if it's Somalia. I don't know the origin of my origin people.
Oh yeah, really?
I don't know the origin. I forget. I have it on my phone.
Huh. But you know, and where was your mom from? Well, your mom was Tyrolean, kind
Same
of.
place. She was from German, Italian, and French.
French, right? Okay.
Spanish.
And where's your dad from?
We don't know.
No idea. Not because, this is amazing, not because he didn't take the test, didn't do the test. 2 times he tried to do the test, the genetic test, you know, that 23andMe does. He drooled into the thing. It could not read his drool. He did it again, sent it in, and his drool was undefinable. He may come from anywhere. He could come from Russia. He could come from Norway. He could come from China or Japan or Mongolia.
I'm part Balkan.
Balkan. He could come from anywhere he come. I mean, we know partially where he comes from my wife's saliva, from her DNA. His spittle, completely unidentifiable.
It's a mystery.
So if he committed a crime at some point, all he would have to do is not even rub down the fingerprints. He just has to spit on them. Quite literally. That's it. It's like, oh, that'll show up. Yep, no, that will confuse all the sensors. So you've got one guy in your life who cannot be traced in a normal manner. And then this week, even though I did not commit a crime, I needed to do some ID stuff and get fingerprinted, right? So I come to this place, and it's like very nice lady in this highly secure area thing. And we say, oh, fingerprints. And I always hated fingerprinting because I don't like getting messy and dirty. And you get the ink on your fingers, and then you got to get the handy wipe. And yeah, I do it, but whatever. But no, everything now is electronic, of course. Everything is digital. Everything is Xerox, photograph, photocopy. So she's like, okay, stand over here. And I had my bag and a folder with my passport in it that I put next to it. Keep that in mind. That will come into play later. And I'm standing there, and she's like, okay, give me your hand. And I said, here we go. And don't resist, because anybody starts, touching my body and taking me somewhere. I'm like, She's like, no, relax the hand. And she literally, finger by finger, starts rolling me over what is essentially a scanner or a Xerox kind of scanner. And she's like, roly roll. And it's weird, first of all, because you figure that, okay, you just want like the tip of the finger, press down, there's a print. But no, they kind of just roll like 180 degrees and then back and over, back and over, back and over. So I'm doing this, and this is taking a couple of minutes. She does my right hand, and right, over, right. Machine won't accept it. The machine, which had no problem basically with my left hand, is like every time I do, every finger on my right hand is like roll, press, roll, press. Nope, sorry, not accepted. Try again. Roll, press, roll. And literally for every finger of my right hand. And the really weird part is I have no idea why the machine is not accepting the results. Because it's kind of like at the airport when they scan your bags, or they pre-scan you before the big thing, and you can see the monitor that they're looking at. And I am looking at the screen where my fingerprints are coming up. And they are very clearly defined with lines and whorls and swirls. I mean, it's a fingerprint. It's a very obvious, unlike any other human being in the world, fingerprint. Why is this computer saying, nope, it's not a fingerprint, it's not good? I mean, we're looking at it, it's clear as a bell. Nope, 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 nope. But I think the funniest part is that she'll take my finger and go, no good. No good. No good. But then the thing will ding and accept, and she'll move on to the next finger. So it's that kind of thing where, like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try it again. I'll try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, fuck it, I'll just move on. And if you go rob a bank, well, I'll be anonymous. I'll be retired by then. I won't even find me. So literally every finger on this hand turned up negative in terms of being able to be properly registered on this ID fingerprinting machine. But at the same time, after each 3 times, it's sort of like, no, it's not an acceptable print, but go ahead, you're in. We have whatever we have on file. You're fine. You have top secret CIA security clearance now. Go on. So that was, and then as all this was, because this took now like 10 minutes of my time to get fingerprinted, to do all this, and then to fill out 1 or 2 forms and go, I grabbed my bag and forgot that I was carrying my passport in a folder that I had taken out of my bag because I was carrying it from another room, another place in this complex, and go all the way home. And just by sheer whatever, I needed to look at my passport for something else. Not going anywhere, unfortunately, but I needed the info on my passport and a picture of it. And suddenly I'm like, it's that moment that hits you. And we're going to have one of these in Greeley Times. The moment it hits you that, lost. Where are my keys? Where am I this? Where's that? And I knew immediately. I was like, because I went to my bag. I'm like, where's my passport? Where's my passport? I take everything out of my bag. Where's my passport? And I'm like, oh, shit. That moment, not only that you realize that you've lost it, but and this is a good thing, you remember exactly where You lost it. So immediately, like I'm dialing the phone, saying, hey, by any chance, did you find my folder? They did. They held it for me. I came and got it. Drove all the way back the next day just to get it and got it and it was fine. But we had those moments of like, right? As opposed to the senior moment we all had of like, where are my glasses? Where the hell are my glasses? Where the hell? There they are. But yeah, we've had that story of the missing item. But at least this one worked out tremendously well.
Yeah.
It was a pain in the ass to go back and get them, but
The Officer Moses, and he held it.
he did. He was we called it a very nice gentleman, like 8 o'clock at night, because they're like 24/7. And he said, yes, sir, I found it. We're going to put it in the front, and you asked for it, and blah, blah, blah. And happily, the woman who fingerprinted me was there the next day, so she remembered me. So like I didn't have to go through pulling out 5 new IDs to get my old ID back. Anywho, that's the kind of week it was. It was really just sort of up and down and up in the dregs and down in the dregs and up out of the dregs or up into the really good dregs. Sometimes dregs are probably pretty strong. Like, if you drink a cup of coffee and you have sugar, I mean, you haven't stirred it all that well, your coffee's going to be kind of bitter and on top. By the time you get to near the dregs, it's going to be nice and sweet and light. It won't be as hot anymore, but you get now the sweetness taste that you wanted from the very first sip.
Yeah.
So maybe the dregs aren't too bad.
Probably not.
Let's hear it for dregs. I think dregs get... Dregs just get a bad rap. They should sell dregs. Like, basically scrapple is dregs. Whatever else they do with a pig, the very, 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 very last thing they do with the stuff that they haven't used in anything else becomes scrapple, which is very tasty, and therefore scrapple dregs. If you weren't a vegetarian, would you eat scrapple dregs, hon?
No.
That was pretty definitive right there. That was a no right from the get-go. Anywho.
We're having a debate on
Oh, what?
on whether you leave the tea bag in the tea.
Don't they say 5 minutes and then it becomes bitter?
English won't, they say it makes the tea bitter.
But other people say it makes it stronger and better?
No, you know how people are.
Actually, wait a minute. This is a great question for you because you drink a few cups of tea every day.
I like it really bitter, yeah.
So, do you prefer the dregs?
Yes.
There you go. That's one vote for dregs. What, babe?
You're knocking all my stuff off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did something fall over?
Yes, I heard something fall and you wanged your hand like a...
Oh, what are you looking at?
Oh, no.
Oh, what fell? What fell? Oh, what is that?
It's a tiny little bottle of perfume here.
Sorry. Ew. I hate perfume. No, but it's one of these,
I made that.
What do you mean you made that?
I made that.
How'd you make
For
this?
my kit. It's a little kit.
See, look at that. There's a miniature bottle of... It looks like a frog. Let's see. I should think it's a... No, it's a bottle of perfume. Okay. So there it is. There it is. How cute. Whoops. It didn't break. It's fine. It's fine. Anywho, it is 10 minutes to 11 Eastern Time here in the Daverhood. You're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife, and we are on our 995th episode of the program that we are calling In the Buff, in honor of our upcoming guest, Carole J. Bufford, who is appearing as well, not this second, but tonight, in Sarasota, Florida, in Too Darn Hot at Florida Studio Theater. You will see very clearly why you should go see that show when she chats with the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sol Solomon in just a little while on this very episode, on this August 16th, 2025. But before then, I think it's time, as promised, as we've spoken, as we've even given you a tickler, a teaser, Greeley Times, my friends, where a column in the Greeley Tribune of phone calls that are coming into the Greeley Police Department, the funniest ones go into the paper in a column called Coplog that is put together, by the way, by Chris Bolin. They've had a lot of different writers and editors do the column over the years. Now it's Chris Bolin doing a fine job. So yes, we're going to share with you, let me play the all-important and pretty new Greeley Times theme music.
Goodness, what a wonderful city, oh yeah. Greeley is a wonderful city located in northern Colorado, 49 miles northeast of Denver. Oh yeah, it's such a great city.
Yeah, and by the way, if you think that's good singing, wait till you hear Carole J. Bufford. But don't even know where that comes. So let us get to our very first criminality, our first item from Coplog here on Dave's Gone By. I think we have do we have a call? Huh. That was a warning that a call was coming in. Aha! This is coming from a convenience store on 71st Avenue in Greeley, Colorado. A caller there felt the store was about to be robbed. The caller said that a few people were driving, quote, turn that all around. Get this. This light is, it shows up in my glasses, but I still need the light, so I'm just gonna turn it a little, there we go. The caller said a few people were driving erratically in the parking lot, and one man had come in wearing a ski mask. So, yeah, would that be a clue to you that perhaps?
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, unless it's a ski shop, in which case, they're practicing skiing in the car while the guy with the mask comes. It's possible. It's possible. Do we have another call? Another call.
Oh.
Oh. I'm getting the book phone. Actually hurt my ear. A caller at a call.
Take a chicken phone here.
Oh,
Take the snowball phone.
Snowball phone, yes. Whee!
Okay.
Snowball phone. Oh, it's cold. And flaky. No, it's not. It's a snowball phone.
It's a snowball.
A caller at a coffee shop on 16th Street said a man with, quote, a man bun was acting nervous and kept looking toward the door. They called it at a coffee shop.
He probably had too much
Coffee.
espresso. He probably had too much. You probably has two caffeine.
But they called the cops of a man just kind of wearing a man bun.
That is probably the server. that's probably the owner.
Yeah, either that or maybe the guy was nervous about people making fun of him because he had a man bun.
Where's the coffee shop?
Well, Greeley, on 16th Street. We probably were, I'm sure we were there.
Margie. It was Margie.
Yeah, but what Margie's turned into is Margie's still there.
Oh, yeah.
But the caller called back shortly after to say that the man was acting normal and canceled the report. Okay. Something about a man bun that just tips off people. I mean, I get it. Let me see if I can do it like this. Oh, that's better. That's all right. Already another call. My goodness. I'm going to take it on the snowball phone again. Where are you? Oh, okay, don't say. It's an unknown address. Said that a man rang the doorbell and was standing outside for several minutes without moving. When police responded, the man told them he crashed his car, but he couldn't say where, and officers couldn't find the vehicle.
Oh, that's tough.
That's either trauma or drugs. I mean, I think you'd know.
Well, unless you had maybe he has concussion.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, if you're standing outside, I mean, you would figure if he rings the doorbell, it would be the first house nearest the crash, and the car would be like, see that car over there?
Yeah.
The one the light pole is like this over?
Yeah,
Mine!
The one that has blood on it, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the one. Oh, honey, this is important. This is beautiful. This is an awe alert. Well, yeah, not a chicken alert, but an awe alert. Here, the tiny violin might work for this. This is for a caller, or from a caller at D Street, He saw a motorcycle rider off his bike and in the street. Why did the biker stop?
Why?
The biker told police he had stopped to move a toad out of the road.
Oh.
Oh!
Oh.
Isn't that sweet? Isn't that adorable? I'm trying to make a frog pun. I can't really make that leap. Oh!
I bet you was so happy about it.
I told you so. Okay, well, it's ringing off the. All right, I'm getting my cup phone. Hello, so this is my cup phone. A caller on Apple Avenue.
Where?
Apple. You remember Apple
I don't think
Avenue?
that's real.
When the hell did Greeley get on Apple Avenue? I mean, it's been about 5 years since we've lived there, but I guess they built up the upper portion of it. Anyway, on Apple Avenue, reported a recent influx of turkeys in the neighborhood. He wanted to know if he had anything to be concerned about, as there'd never been any turkeys in the neighborhood before.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I would say it only gets a little disconcerting if they wind up building a Turkish bath, but that would be the that's. Actually, if they all get together and the turkeys start causing trouble, are they gobble rousing? Okay, another call. Pen phone. Hello. Yep. Hello. A caller on 9th Street Road said a woman was walking a red heeler without a leash and letting the dog go to the bathroom on people's lawns. Amazingly enough, there is more to this. The caller said that the dog had, quote, a loose stool, and the owner wasn't able to pick up after it. See, this is, if you feed the dog some kumquats, well, this one's pretty loose. Yeah, no, it's probably just splatting brown. There's nothing you can do.
That's horrible. I don't think you're supposed to pick that up then.
How can you? Well, all you end up doing is smearing it on the grass. You can't grab anything. You're just kind of like, I think I'm just going to leave
that's
it.
Horrible. I feel bad for everybody in that situation.
Yeah. I guess what do? You make it go on the pavement, maybe, and then
I think you
wash it.
You put like a bag underneath it, and it goes on a bag, and then you just pick it up.
Actually, that's a great idea. Another caller. A caller. Wow, the calls are just coming in. I'm going to do the sad trombone box phone. A caller on 10th Street said people in the back alley were dropping off duffel bags filled with, quote, dirty things and drug items. Well, it always kind of makes
Maybe it's the dog doo-doo.
Yeah, and because I know if I had hypodermic needles and drug paraphernalia, I'd want it in the same bag with dirty things and dog
dirty things. How do people know this? Like, I don't know if people see so clearly.
That's...
If people are like doing, you'd have to be pretty darn close. You think they have binoculars from like that English show?
Either that or maybe it's been going on, the bags are open, they can see, or they're just judging by the people who are there going, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. Okay, this is a small one, so I'm going to do the perfumophone. A caller at a convenience store on 20th Street said that a DoorDash driver was refusing to leave.
Usually they take it.
Yeah!
That's the whole nature of their business.
You're lucky they even don't throw the food at your door and run.
No, but they're picking it up. They pick it up to deliver.
Oh, so first
Yeah.
that's just...
Normally, like we've been in the Thai restaurant or restaurants where they pick it up and they run out. They're on the motorbike.
Yeah.
They stop the bike outside, leave it running. They grab the food and they.
Because also not only do they want to get the thing done, but it's hot food. They need
exactly.
to, otherwise they get complaints. This one's like, yeah, I like it here. I think I'll stick around.
I want a job here.
Yeah, this restaurant. It smells really good. I'm gonna read a book for a while, and then I'll deliver the food. So guess what we have here? We have an elsewhere. This is the part of Greeley Times where we get a story that has nothing to do with Greeley or northern Colorado or Colorado at all. It's a weird, funny story that comes from anywhere else in the country, anywhere else on the planet. And for this one, this just happened this week or a week ago, reported by United Press International, and this goes from Crystal Lake, Minnesota. This happened, and this is, we did that awe story before about the toe. This is also really like happy ending, happy story. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's just going to be like, oh, look at this is such a nice story. And it even also goes back to my story of the passport. So everything ties in. I love that. The serendipity of it. By the way, you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz. It's our 995th episode of the program that is airing live on this Saturday, August 16th, 2025. We're calling it In the Buff. We're doing Greeley Times and Carole J. Bufford coming up in just a couple of minutes. A mechanic was working on a 2015 Ford Edge brought into his shop. That's when he made a startling discovery under the hood.
Oh, God. What, a chicken?
No, it's a happy story.
Money?
A wallet
Yeah.
that had been lost by a Michigan Ford plant worker 11 years earlier. There's more. Richard Guilford, now retired, said he remembers the day he lost his wallet. He was working on vehicles at the Michigan assembly plant in Wayne after the cars came off the assembly line, which some of them had electrical issues. Guilford said, quote, "I never wore my sweatpants to work, but I did that day, and I had my wallet in my shirt pocket." Guilford and his team searched for the missing wallet that day, but the floor had like 2,000 vehicles.
Oh, wow.
And it just had to give up. Ultimately, they couldn't find it. At the time, his wallet contained his driver's license, his Ford Motors ID, $15 in cash, and $250 worth of Cabela's sporting good gift cards.
Oh, what? Why was he carrying that stuff?
Because he was going to use it to buy Christmas presents for his kids.
Oh, God. So why couldn't he find? Oh, because there's too many cars in the shop.
Yeah, and he just put it down and like, gone. So here's the deal. Fast forward 11 years when a guy named Chad Volk of LC Car Care in Crystal Lake, Minnesota, was replacing a cooling fan on the aforementioned 2015
Would it affect the
Ford.
functioning of the car?
Well, just not, it was just sort of tucked in there. It's amazing.
So do you think somebody, if it fell out of his sweatpants when he was working, it wouldn't have been tucked in neatly?
Well, he may have put it, accidentally forgot where he put it.
Taking it out.
Maybe.
Well, who would take something valuable and leave it behind?
Thank you, darling. I told you this was connected to the passport story. I told you. So he probably he was working and kept probably almost falling out of his shirt.
Yes.
I was just going to put it down or tuck it here and, right?
Wow.
And who knew what car? 11 years later, the car which was new when he was working, now has 150,000 miles on it. And it's still running. That's pretty good for Ford. And just replacing a cooling unit.
That's great.
And this worker now was trying to put an air box back in place.
Oh, is that for air conditioning?
Yeah, the air conditioning, and it wouldn't fit, so he pulled it out, tried punching it, it wouldn't fit, and then he took it back out and noticed a leather wallet sitting on the transmission.
That's so crazy that it did. Well, it says something and didn't damage the car.
Yeah, or check this out, the wallet. Said Volk, I was surprised. You find stuff all the time, but it's usually tools and things.
Oh, could people leave
They're working and they forget the wrench.
Wow.
Volk found, and this is lovely, you can say all you want about social media and the evils and AI and the times we live in. Guy found this wallet. He goes on Facebook. That day he finds Guilford on Facebook, tells him, he mails Guilford the wallet with the cash in it, with the cards in it, and best of all, Cabela's issued Guilford the gift cards were still good, they were still valid.
Oh my God.
But he didn't have to use them. They said, no, we'll send you new ones, because he wanted to keep this.
It's a memento.
Yes. And the thing that Guilford said about his wallet is that some things in it were kind of hot and crisp, so like the bills.
Oh, yeah.
But I think of how hot that car got when it was
Yeah.
driving all that. But I don't think it ever got wet. It was dry and completely preserved, and now it's a memento.
Oh.
Isn't that like the nicest, happiest, coolest story? And I know I look for the evil and the sad and the depressing and disappointing and everything. I know I complain. But sometimes you read a story like this where everything just was like, oh, the guy found it, he returned everything in it, it was in great condition,
And
the
also
store.
that the man was still alive, he located
Yes.
the right guy. I mean, that's like, there are people I watch on the TV, there are people who are looking for their adoptive parents and can't find them. And they have the birth certificate, the name, and they can't find
This guy leaves a wallet.
And a factory worker, I mean, that's it really.
Although it does help, he's got a driver's license and an ID, so we know.
These searchers have a lot of stuff, and they hire investigators, and they can't do it.
Yeah.
And this man found like a needle in a haystack.
So happiest story of the week. Well, yeah. Anyway,
Our company should have given them something too. You know.
Like what? It wasn't their fault. He left his wallet and thing.
Oh.
What?
Okay. I lost track of the comments, but Marie said
Oh.
Crystal Lake in Minnesota is near where her family members are on her mom's side. It's beautiful,
Ooh.
and they're in the Twin Cities, but it's very nice.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? If you're gonna name a place Crystal Lake,
Yeah,
it shouldn't be. You know, like if you name a place Flushing, Queens, you kind of get a sense of what it's going to be. You know, or you're, you know, we know people who live near Force Tube Avenue in Queens. It's like Force Tube Avenue. You get the feeling that's not going to be a vacation spot. However, Crystal Lake, Minnesota, you hope. You just sort of, you believe, you want to believe.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's do one or two more of Greeley Times, and then we'll get to our wonderful interview of the program. Then Rabbi Sol reading Spock, Messiah, Part 3, and then whatever else we have to
What
do.
time is there? So, like, a lot of people shared the comment with Carole Bufford.
Oh, yeah, well,
What time is she on?
in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to finish this up because
It won't let me.
we taped that interview a day or two ago, so it's you know, sitting in our bank ready to be shown. In fact, I need to get it ready to show to make sure that I have it.
Normally,
Yeah.
your Facebook will let me do stuff, but it won't. It's not working.
Oh, my evil naughty Facebook!
No, I
No.
just don't know what I'm doing.
Anyway, let's one or two more calls, and then we will get to the interview. That I promise. People sometimes don't realize if they're new to the show and they're tuning in specifically for a guest,
Yeah.
and they know that they see that the show starts at 9 a.m. and then here I am idioting for minutes and minutes and minutes. They don't get that we're generally a 3-hour show and that we get to the guest, but it's almost never in the first hour. You know, we do it generally in the 10 o'clock hour. Anyway, poo phone, who's calling? A caller on 39th Avenue reporting a large, long-haired dog that seemed very hungry walking around his garage. Well, police picked the dog up, which they described as, quote, I just love the description, quote, a massive, obese golden retriever.
Oh.
Not just massive, obese golden retriever that had been picked up before. Of course he's going to pick up, he can't move.
Poor thing.
It's like he's running away. Okay, I got him. Wait, let me finish this phone call. I'll catch him. What? Maybe that's the dog with the stools.
No, he would have good stools, probably.
Yeah, he would literally have stools like this. And then, I love that. One more. And this happened, just to show you that these are fairly recent, but we have a backlog of them. This happened on July 4th of 2025, so a few weeks ago already. A caller on 10th Avenue said he left his vehicle overnight and couldn't find it when he woke up. He called back soon afterwards. Guess why? You figure out what happened. July 4th. They towed it for the parade.
Oh.
We towed him so.
He should leave his wallet in the transmission.
That's right. That way he would be able to find it really, really easily. Maybe he's like that other guy who had the car crash and couldn't find his car. Maybe the same day.
That your guest is kind of got. I can't. It won't let me copy the names anymore like it used to.
Oh.
I don't get it.
I don't either. Yeah. Well, you know what? No, here's another July 4th one. One more from July 4th. A caller.
Uh-oh.
at an apartment complex on 4th Avenue said a man was shooting fireworks at cars driving by.
That's not good.
That is not good. That's not, you know me with bees and startling noises and things that, you know how I am in a car. If something rattles me, can you imagine if I had the window open and somebody tossed a firecracker in?
I think you'd make a duty.
There'd be loose stools all the upholstery. Not to mention, we would be wrapped around the lamppost several times, and I'd be going like 10 miles an hour.
Out for a bee.
I do freak out for bees. Scare me. You know, I don't like waspy, stingy flying insects. I don't even like dewy, stingy flying insects. But anywho, my friends, that for this week, this Saturday, August 16th, 2025, is Greeley Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi!
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Yes, my friends, you are watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz. Delighted to be here with you today. And we're just getting to the shank of the show. I mean, we already had a lot of fun talking about things, but now we get to raison d'etre of this particular episode, which is an interview that Rabbi Sol did earlier in the week with a songstress, a singer of, in somewhat the jazz tradition, but the great American songbook tradition, but also the moderner
I want to say
tradition.
Carole J. Bufford is live. I mean, is that?
Well, she'll be, in 2 minutes. Joining us in the Daverhood momentarily, soon as I load this up, is singer Carole J. Bufford. She is a Bistro Awards winner. She is also the winner of, what else? Well, a couple of other things. Vocalist of the Year from Broadway World. She's appeared in a bunch of different cabaret spots all over the country, but right now, the only way you can see her, well, aside from watching this interview, is in Sarasota, Florida, because she's back at Sarasota's Florida Studio Theater, doing her cabaret show. It's called Too Darn Hot. She's backed by a trio doing songs old and new, dedicated to the summertime, dedicated to evenings in the summertime, sultry evenings, if you might even say. So, here in the Daverhood, let me just get that loaded up and then I can get it for you. Speaking with the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sol Solomon, here on this 995th episode of the Dave's Gone By show. Gotta share my screen, which I will. Get that down.
Can I post that?
Yes,
Okay.
that'd be lovely. Let me make this big. That's what she said. And now, Rabbi Sol Solomon and Carole J. Bufford. Oh, shalom, my friends, shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And, you know, if I weren't in Great Neck, New York, and if I weren't in Israel, what other place would I possibly want to be? You know it, Florida, because that's where my people are. And this is where you should be, because you should be in Sarasota right now to see the nightclub cabaret performance of the lovely lady that you're looking at right now. Her name is Carole J. Bufford, and she is doing a show called Too Darn Hot. Well, because it's Florida. It's always too darn hot. And they got the big flying bugs. I hate that. But let me tell you a little bit about Carole here. She is a former Broadway World Vocalist of the Year. She is also a winner of a Bistro Award, which is a cabaret award that was started by Backstage, but is no longer Backstage, but they're still doing bistros. She has played at 54 Below, Birdland Jazz at Lincoln Center, and the Cabaret Convention. Main thing is, get yourself to Florida Studio Theater, all the way from now until the middle of September, where she and a couple of other performers are doing Too darn hot. Please welcome the smoking hot Carole J. Bufford. Shalom! Hello, how are you?
Hello.
How's it going? You're already doing the run, right? So how's it going?
I'm in the middle of the run. We are finishing up week 7 right now. 8 shows a week, and there's 12 total. So we go through September 14th.
So what has it been the same from day one? Have you taken the song away, changed anything, or is it just, like a theater show where it's set?
We came in, I came in, I hired the band locally. They're all local Sarasota area musicians, fantastic band. And so we had a couple rehearsals before our tech with Florida Studio Theater. So we made a couple of tweaks during that process. And then during tech, like very, very minimal. And then it was set. We had like 2 previews, then opening night, and then it's been set ever since. Same show, 8 shows a week. We've had amazing audiences. It's selling extremely well, which is wonderful. And we just had a blast. Great audiences here in Sarasota.
So first of all, I should have asked this question first. What is Too Darn Hot Songs for a Summer? Like, is it just Cole Porter, or what is it?
No, although that song is obviously in it. So Too Darn Hot originally started out, I was just doing a jazz set at Birdland, and I just kind of chose nights in summer themed music. And it was just kind of a mishmash of things. And then when Florida Studio Theater contacted me, their cabarets here are a little more like a cabaret / theater hybrid. You're in an actual theater. There's lots of lighting cues. Everything's very set, and you have to have a script, which I usually don't have script for my shows. So we came up with a go between the two of us. I have cue lines that I'll always say, but up until that, I'm allowed to kind of say whatever I want.
I'm sorry, please remind me, who's we? Who else is working?
Me and Florida Studio Theater.
Oh, FST. Oh, yeah. But you're also you have a director, I assume,
I'm the director. I wrote the script. I, along with Ian Herman, wrote the arrangements for the show. So basically, in this iteration of it, we go by month: June, July, August, September, and there are 4 to 5 songs for each month, and we go through, but it's nighttime in summer. So you've got songs like Summer in the City. You've got songs like Walking My Baby Back Home, Making Whoopee, Another Bride, Another June, things like that.
Oh, there we go. Well, I thought you start in July. You start in June then.
Start in June, because summer starts June 21st and goes through September 21st. And the run of this particular show at FST started June 24th and goes through September 14th. So we're right smack in the middle there.
So let me see if I can sort of plug some of these. Do you do, there's a Paul Simon song about where he does the months. April, oh no, it's April. You can't do
No, but that was on my list. I have a big Excel sheet where I start with, way too many songs and then whittle them down. That one was on my Excel sheet, but we ended up not doing that. So we have, like, for instance, I start with Fever, even though it's not technically summer.
But you still go on stage even with a fever. This is a trooper. The song Fever.
Well, if it's 103 outside, then if I'm only at 101, I'm fine.
I'm going to stop you there because, we all know the Peggy Lee. It's so iconic. How do you do it that makes it yours?
So we started in that traditional upright bass, boom, boom, boom. But then as we start to go on, we move with a little faster walking bass. It gets a little crazier, a little more chaotic throughout it. So I make sure it's a little faster tempo too than Peggy does it. We make sure to kind of spice it up and make it our own.
So you get to see this gorgeous person doing Fever. What else? What else do you do? Well, Fever is what month?
That actually opens the show. So it is not assigned to any specific month. And then for every month, I've found a poem that was about that month, that's in public domain, that introduces that set. So for June, I found this great poem called June Nights. It was by Victor Hugo, obviously. It's the English translation of it. So I say the poem, and then we move into the June section. So then you have like Making Whoopee, Another Bride, Another June, Blame It on the Summer Night, which is from the Broadway show Rags, Stephen Schwartz and Charles Strauss. Beautiful song. Stepping Out with My Baby. And that one.
Yeah. I'm trying to run the lyrics to find the month. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Well, so the month is not in that song, but it was released on June 30th, 1948.
That's cheating. Come on.
It's not cheating.
I mean, just find any song released in August.
Well, as I tell the audience, the show is about summer, and it's also about nighttime. So it's some songs are specific to the nighttime. Like, for instance, in July, we do In the Midnight Hour. Wilson Pickett.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Do you do Night in the City by Joni Mitchell? Because I think you could probably do it.
Did I what? Say that again?
Do you do Joni Mitchell's Night in the City? That's a lovely song.
No, I actually don't know that song.
You need to know that song. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Yeah, no, it's not a winter song. It would actually fit. I'm just saying.
Okay.
For the next potential
some like a lot of people were saying, you need to do. Can't even remember what the song was now. It was some song that mentioned the word September, and I said, yeah, but if you actually pay attention to the lyrics, it's not about September. It's about see you in September. That's what it was. That kind of thing.
See you in September, but it's winter now, so it doesn't work.
Right. There's a lot of songs like that that are a little tricky. Yeah.
I'm assuming you're not doing War Pigs by Ozzy Osbourne. I guess that one wouldn't.
I'm not. Shocking.
Even as a tribute, you're probably not gonna
I couldn't find a good way to do it with a jazz trio.
A quartet or a septet. A septet would kill it.
Septet would kill it. Octet done.
Octet would be overkill, but that's my personal. Now, for you as a musical person, you mentioned elsewhere. Now, maybe this was for the show you were doing back when you were interviewed about this. But is one of your musical touchstones vocally Dusty Springfield?
Love Dusty Springfield. Yes, I was doing a show. It was called You Don't Own Me, The Fearless Females of the 1960s. And Dusty Springfield played a very large role in that. I think she's one of the most brilliant vocalists ever. She's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Interesting voice, too.
Yeah, well, what makes her more interesting or better or more fabulous than other voices of the time? A Mama Cass, a Janis Joplin, a Joni, a Judy. Whoa,
Well, all of those women are fabulous and unique for their reasons. Dusty, I particularly am drawn to her voice, I think, because she has a lot of blues inflections in her voice and a little bit, and jazz too, frankly. So I think that's why I'm drawn. I mean, she was the blue-eyed soul girl, so that's why I think I'm drawn to her. Her music is very, it tends to be more emotional and a little more dramatic, which I think is fun, so that as someone who loves that kind of music, that's what I'm drawn to. She just had a little smoky quality to her voice too that just makes you want to listen to her forever and ever. Janis Joplin, I love Janis Joplin, but I wish I could have seen Janis Joplin. She seems like the kind of person that I'd want to watch. Like she was just constantly on fire, We do a little tribute to Janis in Too Darn Hot, actually, because she did Summertime.
Oh, of course, yeah, sure.
Gershwin's Summertime. Right. And so we do a nod to her arrangement that she did with Big Brother and the Holding Company. Sam Andrew wrote her arrangement, which was based on Bach's Prelude in C minor. So we do a little...
Who knew? Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Now, you brought this up, so I am very curious, because you had mentioned that when you do the poems in the show, they are... public domain. You don't have to pay anybody. You don't have to worry about rights. What happens when you have to do when you want to do a Dusty Springfield tune, when you want to do, was it Curtis Mayfield or the person?
Wilson Pickett, yes.
Wilson Pickett. Who does Florence Studios just take care of the rights things, or is it cabaret? You can do what you want, or what's the deal? How do you?
They do. So all the cabaret clubs in general will pay a blanket ASCAP fee. And then Florida Studio Theater is a little different because it is a theater, I believe, because I have to send them my script and my set list ahead of time. So they may specifically actually pay for each individual song, but they take care of that, not me. But I know cabaret clubs like 54 and Birdland, they just pay a blanket fee yearly, I guess.
But the poems wouldn't fit into that because they're not ASCAP BMI. There's something else there.
Correct, which is why when I was putting this together and realized I wanted to use the poems as goalposts, I had no clue what the deal was with that. So I said, I'm just going to find public domain and we won't have to worry about it.
And you must do a Tom Lehrer song. So let's see. Well, no,
I don't do a Tom Lehrer, but you know, I was just saying the other day, I was like, I really would love to do a whole show of just irreverent Tom Lehrer, Randy Newman, like an entire show of that. It would just give me such joy.
So why can't that be your next project?
Oh, it certainly can be. I usually do a Randy Newman song in just about every show I do, unless it's about the fearless females of the 60s, because that would be weird. Yeah, but I've got a Randy in this one. Let's burn down the cornfield.
Ah, and I'll make love to you while it's boiling.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, it's so good. I know. What month is it?
On a cold night. So I put it in September because the nights are getting cold. The poem that I used to set up, that one, it plays right into that.
And did you know, I bet you knew this, that Randy Newman arranged the Peggy Lee number way back.
I did know that, yes. Yeah. Randy Newman is one of the most fascinating musical characters. Like the songs he wrote, the scores that he's written for films, just he's had his hand in everything. And he comes from that insane family too. Right. So I mean, all of them, Alfred Newman, all of them are just brilliant. So,
and I'm amazed by Alfred Newman because he could write all those scores and things and be the cover of Mad Magazine. This, I don't know how he did it. I'm wearing talent. And it was so goofy looking. But did you know that all the Newman family Jewish? Just saying. Now you, I'm guessing, are Italian because you're Italian. No, you're marrying an Italian guy.
I married an Italian guy. Yes, he is very Italian. I'm all the pale people. I'm English, German, Irish, and a little bit of French.
I see the Irish. Well, I'm not going to ask about the hair color. I mean, it's good. I don't know if it's...
It's not real, but... but my grandfather, who was my namesake, he was Carroll. He was a redhead. My first cousins, many of them are redheads, so I knew it was going to work. I'm pale, the redhead, and it's fine.
Now, are you a Catholic?
I'm not a Catholic. No, we were raised in a Methodist church when I was a little kid, and then we moved to a Baptist church. And then when I hit 13, I said, "Can I stop going to church?"
There you are. As soon as I had my bar mitzvah, I was like, I'm either going to stop everything or become a rabbi. I flipped a coin, and it was a shekel, actually. I mean, it was just boom. Oh, I went with rabbi.
Oh, there you go. See, my coin flips the other way.
You never know. So, all right, let's go back to your training, because you took musical theater in college, right? You have a degree in it. Where? From where?
Ithaca College.
So what did you learn? What are the things that they taught you? I guess vocal preservation, but what else?
Oh, sure. There was lots of vocal training. It's kind of a double major of vocal performance and acting. So I had a whole lot of acting classes and a whole lot of music theory, that kind of. So I was in between two different schools, the drama school and the music school. And then there was, of course, dance. We took jazz, modern, tap, all of that, which was great fun. But I love to move, but I never took dance as a kid. So I always felt like I was 5 years behind every other person, little two left feet situation.
Well, you did mention that earlier, that you and Ian Herman did the arrangements for Too Darn Hot. So does that mean you can write music? You actually do musical arranging?
Yes, I taught myself how to at least do the copy for arrangements when I was hosting Birdland Jazz Party. This was 8 or 9 years ago, and we had to do a new show every single week. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be broke if I have to pay Ian Herman to write charts every single week, 16, 17 new songs every single week. So I downloaded Finale, It was Finale at the time, which no longer exists now. Now it's Dorico. And I just taught myself how to write charts. Ian would help me. He's like been amazing teaching me all along. And so now I write the charts with his help, of course.
Do you hear the accompaniment in your head? Like, let's say there's, how big is the ensemble for Too Darn Hot? How many musicians?
It's just it's a trio for this particular show. Piano, bass, drums.
Piano, bass, oh, all right. So, by the piano, you kind of figure out the filigree that's going on behind you, or just the chords, or what?
Yeah, so the way it usually works is I will bring in just either chords that I've found online or sheet music to Ian in the key that I've kind of found for myself, and then say, okay, this is what I'm thinking. I want it to have this feel. I want, like, let's turn this into a waltz instead, or let's bring this into a more funk place, or whatever. Yeah. And then I'll tell him, like, if I have any specific, I want a hit here, I want this here, and the two of us together will kind of work it through, figure out what we want. He'll usually go through and change, some chords. He'll say, I think this would be a more crunchy, delicious chord here, and he'll write it in, or he'll say, what do you think of this one? No, not that. Yeah, that one, whatever. And so we'll come up with the arrangement. I'll take all that chicken scratch back and translate it into Finale. But usually for trio and quartet shows, they're more jazz charts, so it's not written out exactly. There'll be maybe a beginning line that'll give you an idea of what the feel is, and then there'll be little hits, but it's usually just slash marks and chords in between. So there's a little more room for like jazz improvisation, basically, which is what I like. So when I brought it here, because I've done the show in New York, right, yeah. So my band there, they played it a certain way. I bring it here. It's not identical, but it's the same arrangement. And I love that, because when you move from different musicians, there's always just a little something new. So it kind of keeps you on your toes. People get to bring their own thing to it, and it doesn't just feel like, with musical theater, you have to play everything exactly.
Yeah,
note for note.
Broadway. Yeah. No, speaking of musical theater, you came out of MTI with all this training as dancer. You knew you weren't going to be a dancer, but you could move. Yes. Musical writing, acting, musical vocal performance. At what point did you sort of think, I'm not going to go audition for Broadway show, I'm taking a singing path?
So I was getting frustrated right out of, immediately after graduation, I booked a tour of Junie B. Jones, the musical. It was a TYA Children's Theater tour, and I'd never been to the West Coast, so I got to spend 9 months on touring around the West Coast, which was delightful. It was perfect job for a 22-year-old. Sleeping in little tiny motels and driving vans around and putting sets up early in the morning. And I loved that. And then I was getting very frustrated. A lot of my auditions, my voice didn't fit my look. And that's very difficult for musical theater because I have a lower, more alto-y, sultry voice. And especially when I was 22, I looked very
people expected Sandy Duncan, and you're coming out.
So the only role that worked, that I would constantly get called in for, were little boys, Peter Pan, these kinds of things.
Oh, well, no, I can't. Okay, I see it. I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
All that. Which I did get to play Peter Pan, and I'm from Georgia originally, and I got to play it in Atlanta, so that was pretty special.
All right, okay.
Yeah, that was very special. I got to fly, the whole thing.
Actually, did you, since school times, did you do other theater roles?
Yes. What? So for about the first 4 or 5 years post-graduation, I did theater and auditioned solely for theater. I was not looking to do my own shows, and I was cast in a fringe show called Trouble in Shameland, a lovely piece by Brian Putnam, and I was cast as I was half boy prince and half evil queen. So I got to play both parts of my personality.
That's half the men on Broadway, ladies and gentlemen.
So it was a very fun role. And the producer of that, Jeff Landsman, he asked me, he said, have you ever thought of doing cabaret? And where I am from in Georgia, in a tiny little town, that word means something very different. Because when you drive down the highway towards Florida, you see giant billboards that say cabaret, live nude girls. You know?
Oh. See, I thought he was literally thinking it was Sally Bowles in cabaret, which I could see.
Well, I would love that. That's another dream.
Okay.
Yeah. I love me some Liza.
Yeah,
so, but he asked me that, and I was like, sir, how dare you? And he said, no. I mean, your own solo show. So he then said, I think you'll be great at this. And he produced my very first solo cabaret at the Duplex.
Oh, the Duplex.
It was called, yes, it was called An Inappropriate Evening with Carole J. Bufford.
Ooh. It should have been the cabaret. There we go. Well, what was it?
I know. I decided to put a little into it, you know.
Well, what was the naughtiest song that you did?
You know, it was such a mishmash of a show. It wasn't all about specifically being naughty, though there were some of those. There was also me singing songs that were inappropriate for me.
Oh, they do that for benefits now, where they have songs that women would never get to sing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was that. Then there were a few naughty songs. And then I did a little segment, which I've really never done this since, where I did impersonations of people doing songs that were inappropriate for them.
Okay.
Like, for instance,
please. Oh, come on.
For instance, one of them was Ethel Merman as Mary Poppins singing "Stay Awake" to all the children. It's like screaming in their faces, you know. Stay awake, don't rest your head. That kind of thing, you know.
Bravissima.
And then, what was one of the other ones? I know. Julie Andrews singing The Oldest Profession from The Life, Lilius White song.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old for that, you know.
You're good. What is your best?
I don't do impersonations anymore because then I met people like Christina Bianco who were like, oh, brilliant at it. And I thought, I don't know that this is nice.
You could bring you have to. Oh my God. So
that was my first cabaret.
Yeah.
Then I kind of stopped for a little bit. I didn't think about it again and went back to the musical theater. Then I came up with an arrangement for Folsom Prison Blues that I desperately wanted to sing. And I saw an ad in Backstage for this contest at the now unfortunately gone Metropolitan Room called the Metro Star Contest. And I signed up for that just so I could sing my version of Folsom Prison Blues. And it went very well. I made it all the way to the end of the contest, but I did not win. And there were two gentlemen in attendance that night who were upset, I guess, that I didn't win, and that was Scott Siegel and Donald Smith.
Not Barbara Siegel. It was Scott Smith and who Smith?
Well, yes, Scott Siegel and Barbara Siegel. They were both there, and then Donald Smith, two separate entities. So Donald Smith invited me to do the cabaret convention, and Scott Siegel and Barbara Siegel invited me to do Broadway by the year. And that kind of was a little entree into more in that cabaret world. Scott Siegel then produced several cabarets for me at the Metropolitan Room. I did Body and Soul with him. I did Shades of Blue. And then I did a couple shows at 54 Below that he also produced. And then I started doing the cabaret convention every single year. And Donald Smith was very sweet. After my very first performance at the cabaret convention, he put me in the second to last position in the first act. And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a notebook and a pen. After you sing, you're going to, everyone's going to go crazy for you. I want you to go out into the lobby and start meeting people, shaking their hands, and telling them to sign up for your mailing list, get their email addresses, and start building your list. And I met so many people. So the very next show I did after that, it was really well sold and lovely. So he was
But I'm still stuck on one thing. What did you do with Folsom Prison Blues to make, and we talked about Peggy Lee thing before, to take it away from Johnny Cash. Did you keep it serious? Did you mock it? I mean, what did you do?
It's not a full mock. It's, okay, long story. I'll keep it brief, but I went down a YouTube rabbit hole one day about how in the I've always loved the 1920s in general, the music, you know, the time period. And I saw in this little mini documentary that the women's prisons in the 1920s became so overcrowded because so many women were committing crimes that they started having to ship them into men's prisons. And that song popped into my head, and I thought, what if we gave this song a Bessie Smith treatment? And it already is a 12-bar blues, like that. Those are the chords. It is a 12-bar blues. So instead of doing the Johnny Cash thing with it, we moved it into the hear the train is coming, you know, that kind of a thing. Yeah. So we moved it into that. So, and it's from a woman's point of view. I sing, when I was just a young girl, my mama told me hun rather than son, you know. So sometimes when I do it, I tell that little story to set it up, you know, that this is this woman who was shipped off to a men's prison, you know, that kind of a thing.
Now, this leads to another quote of yours, a quote that says, you have said this, quote, I love singing angry, wailing, belting, screw you songs, which is basically what I sing in temple, but why do you feel...
When did I say that? That's so true, but I don't remember saying that.
I guess I don't have that into the annotated bibliography citation of this, but you did say it at some point, and I get it. Believe that. But is it because you go for things that look different from what you're expected to be, or is it something else inside you that goes for this kind of...
I like hearing that music. I'm a very positive, optimistic, pretty happy human being in general, and I think it's because...
You're so
because I think it's because I let myself sing songs like that, so I'm not just angry all the time. I get it out on stage, you know?
Question for you. By the way, we're talking about Carole.
It's cathartic.
It is. Question for Carole J. Bufford, who, by the way, we should remind people, is appearing in Too Darn Hot, which is playing at Florida Studio Theater in Sarasota, Florida, now through September 14th. Get your tickets, floridastudiotheater.org, and it's there with an ER on the end of the thing, like the Europeans do.
The fancy theater.
It is. What was the first album or record or 45 or whatever that you, but you're too young for 45. What was the first piece of music that you bought with your own money as like a teenager?
So this is something I talk about in the show. Did you know that?
No, I actually didn't. I'm psychic. No, psychic. That's it, yes.
That's so funny. This is literally a question that I posed to the audience to set up one of the songs in Too Darn Hot. This is amazing. So the very first, it was a cassette tape that I bought with my own money. And it was the best of Johnny Rivers.
Johnny Rivers. Oh, wait, he did.
Secret
I can
Agent
see
Man.
clearly. Well, wait, I'm sorry, which?
Secret Agent Man, Tracks of My Tears. There's so many great songs. So, but my grandfather is a pianist, and he plays a lot of boogie woogie. And he always used to play I Got the Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie Woogie Flu. Yeah. I was obsessed with that song. And he told me one of his favorite covers of it was Johnny Rivers. And so I thought, okay, well, that's what I have to buy. So I bought the best of Johnny Rivers on cassette tape, and I listened to it over and over, every track, a gem. And when I was putting this show together, like my brain just jumped back. He did a song called Summer Rain that he also co-wrote. And we put that in the show, Summer Rain, Taps at My Window. And it's a great little tune, so we put that in the show, but that's my setup for it. So that is so funny that you asked me that.
So if people go to see Carole in Too Darn Hot, that's the moment when you can signal the waitress over, get your drink refill, go to the bathroom, because you've already heard.
You've heard the story.
You don't need to be there for that 2 minutes.
It's old hat. Or you can call it out and just ruin my setup.
Now, let's get a little bit personal, because we did mention that you make a nice Italian gentleman. How did you meet your husband, and how long have you been together, and blah, blah. And is he a show busy person too or not?
Not technically, no. I met him in college. We were friends in college. We did not date during college. We dated post-college. When I was doing that aforementioned tour, he lived in LA, I lived in New York, and I saw him when I went on tour out there and thought, And then he came back for New Year's one year, like the following New Year's, I believe. And then we kind of started dating off and on, long distance. Then he finally moved back to the East Coast. We have been married for 13 years. Yes, thank you. And we've been together, I think it was about 7 or 8 years before that. So we've been together a long time.
Oh, that is so how do you make it? I mean, it's not two performers then, which I guess is.
Oh, yes. So he works online. That's his job. And so he's able to travel with me, though, wherever I go, because he needs Wi-Fi, and that's it, basically, to do his job. But he also studied sound engineering, and he has an exquisite pair of ears. And so
I'm glad you went with ears on that. Okay, yes, all right.
He's got other exquisite things, too. But
yes. When you set up at FST, he's there to listen to that during the...
Absolutely. He's able to help me out with all that. And also whenever I've done recordings for albums, things like that, he's just immensely helpful. He helps me sell CDs after the show. Little things like that. Having one other person there is uber helpful. Plus, we get to remain married because we get to see each other, because otherwise I'd never see him. So.
Well, sometimes that's the best thing, but not all. Now, let me ask, I don't suppose you have next to you or near you. You mentioned, what is your latest CD? Where can we?
Let me see if I have any.
Honey, can you grab that for her?
I know. Oh,
darling.
I can grab that.
Yeah. You're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Rabbi Sol Solomon. We're interviewing Carole J. Bufford. She has put together, she is singing in, she has written interstitial material for and directed a show called Too Darn Hot, Songs for a Summer Night. It is playing at FST, Florida Studio Theater out there in Sarasota, Florida, and you have a little bit of time to see it. It's playing through September 14th. And as you've heard, yes, there's some Cole Porter in it, but it's basically the months of the summer months of the year told through song. Okay, did you find a CD?
I found both of them, 2 albums. All by Myself, the Irving Berlin All by Myself, and Come Together. So this one is all 60s and 70s music, taken from 2 of my shows, the Fearless Females of the 60s, and then I did another show called Come Together. And this one's just a mix of everything. And you can see what the 4th track is. Folsom Prison Blues.
Oh, so we can actually buy the CD to hear what you've been talking about. And can we get them? Is it CaroleJBufford.com?
You can find them at CaroleJBufford.com. They're also on Spotify. That's how you do your music. Wherever you do your music, that's where it is.
I basically do it in the bathroom with bongos, but that's...
Me too.
So, last little couple of questions for Carole J. Bufford. What is your favorite song ever? Well, favorite song to sing, but also a favorite song that you might not say, might not be right for you, but that you love.
Ooh, okay. Favorite song to sing? Probably After You've Gone. I love After You've Gone.
Most people love After I've Gone. They hate me when I'm there, but yes, okay.
I especially like the verse of After You've Gone, which not as many people do. And I liked it so much that I didn't do it at the beginning. I put it slap in the middle of the song in my arrangement of it. It's a very satisfying song to sing. So that might be my favorite. Folsom's up there, frankly.
Okay.
Yeah. The one that in this particular show I'm doing that is my favorite is it's actually an Adele song. It's called When We Were Young. And I think it's just an exquisitely written song. It's a beautiful story song, which I always like. And that's probably my favorite song to do in this specific show. I have a lot of favorites, though. And what was the other question? A song
that you don't sing, or at least professionally, that you love, but it's not, it wouldn't be necessarily in your wheelhouse, or a song you grew up with.
Oh, golly. Anything that's out of my range. Anything that a soprano sings.
There you go.
No, there's definitely some Julie Andrews songs that I think, oh God, wouldn't it be fun to be able to sing that like
Wouldn't
that?
it be
But
lovely to be able to sing that?
it would be lovely. So, but you can always just drop it down a fifth and let's go.
And the other question is, in your years of doing the cabaret conventions and everything, and learning to do what you do professionally, was there a performance that you've seen by another cabaret, won't even have to be a legend, but a notable, that was the best knock your socks off evening of cabaret that you've ever witnessed?
Catherine Russell at Birdland. I would say she's more in the jazz realm, but she is one of the most exquisite singers, artists that I know. She is a throwback to like a Dinah Washington style singer, and Dinah Washington's like maybe my favorite singer. It's a tie between Dinah and Judy. And Catherine Russell's she's just always squarely in the pocket. She picks excellent material, lots of songs that are in a more bluesy realm, which I love. So probably that would be top. Now, favorite cabaret, I mean, Marilyn May, like, come on.
I know, still at it.
Come on, like, it just doesn't get better than that. Oh, and I'll tell you one other one, too. This one it knocked my socks off. T. Oliver Reed did a show called Drop Me Off in Harlem at the Metropolitan Room. This was years ago, and it was all music from, I think it was 1934. And it was one of the most exquisite nights of music I have ever seen. Just so stunning. He did the most brilliant arrangement of I Got the World on a String that left me in tears at the end. Just stunning. Beautiful actor.
Reed, that's interesting.
T. Oliver Reed, yes. He does a lot of Broadway. And I think he's in Hadestown right now on Broadway. I think he's still in it. But yeah, so he's done a lot of Broadway shows, but he does his own shows occasionally when we're all lucky enough to get him. So that was definitely one.
Well, we have been very, very lucky to have Carole J. Bufford with us in the Daverhood. Do go see her in Too Darn Hot at Florida Studio Theater. You have a few weeks to do it. Get your tickets at floridastudiotheater.org. Plus, you can get her CDs, which are available at her own website, CaroleJBufford.com. There they are. Plus on Spotify and CD Baby and CD Adult and CD Geriatric, whatever. Last question before I let you go.
Yes.
Since you've been performing for all these years, what is the weirdest, funniest, strangest, scariest thing that has ever happened when you've been on stage? Whether it's in the audience or on this, what?
There's been a lot. I mean, the one that stands out to me right now, it actually is not a cabaret thing. I was in a play in high school, and it was called Playing for Time. Do you remember that? It was they made
The
like
Holocaust
a
thing, or
yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with a bunch of Gentiles in Lincolnton, Georgia. And
at least there wasn't a Vanessa Redgrave. So
there was no Vanessa Redgrave, yes. And I played this character, Marianne, who was a bit of a harlot. And she was kind of sleeping with the SS officers to get food. And they gave her a piece of sausage. And this sounds
literally
like a terrible, dirty joke, but and I was like, we actually use real food, and I just started choking on it and had this whole monologue to deliver. And tears were streaming down my face, not because I was a great actor, but because I was literally physically joking. And I got off stage, there was huge applause. I got off stage, my drama teacher was like, the best you've ever done. I'm like,
And children, this is the lesson of why you should go kosher and not eat sausage. It could kill you. Well, I'm so glad I asked that question. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again to Carole J. Bufford for being such a delightful guest in the Daverhood. We wish you more music. We wish you much more. Turn up the heat on Too Darn Hot and get cracking on that weird, funny novelty Randy Learer Newman project thing.
Yes.
Get that going.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Shalom to you.
Shalom. Mwah.
Everything's frozen. Oh my goodness. Let's unfreeze it and get back to you live here in the Daverhood. Let's open that up. And we're back. Well, we haven't really gone away, but thank you so much to Rabbi Sol Solomon and, of course, to Carole J. Bufford for being with us on this Saturday morning, August 16th, 2025. So, yeah, go to, how can you not now go to see Too Darn Hot at Florida Studio Theater now through the middle of September. So Carole is now officially a friend of the Daverhood. She is, someone who's been, in fact, we changed this about 2 weeks ago. Sure, she's a friend of the Daverhood, but anybody who loves this show, who watches this show, is a friend of the Daverhood. What about, though, people who've been on the program? We've been calling them friends. Let's call them alumni. So alumni of the Daverhood, people who've been on the program, what are they up to? For example, as we've said, Carole J. Bufford, she's got two CDs out. She's out in Florida at Florida Studio Theater in Sarasota. Rabbi Sol Solomon, he has his website, shalomdammit.com, where you can watch his stage show, where you can watch his TV program that he did 10 episodes of a few years ago on Long Island cable television. Plus, of course, you can see and read and hear all of his rabbinical reflections. That's all at shalomdammit.com. Well, they're not the only people who've been on this show, because we've been on the air since 2002. And here it is, August 16th, 2025, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, you're you. You can find out more about the show at davesgoneby.com, but the thing we want to tell you about now is the alumni of the Daverhood, the friends and alumni of the Daverhood. Let's get on some classical Mozarty type music to get that going. So I want to give a shout out to some folks. First of all, Vinnie Pastore, the Italian actor who is doing something called Talking Sopranos, which is at Sony Hall, 235 West 46th Street. He's being interviewed by Joey Cola, the comedian. That is happening today. So if you want to see Vinnie Pastore in the flesh and not just on The Sopranos, go see him today at, let's do that. There we go, better. I think better. Let me see if this is showing up in my glasses. No, not too bad. And also today, and you don't have to leave your home for this, if you go to televerse.com, you can see a reunion of the TV series Queer as Folk featuring our friend Sharon Gless. So that is happening today, tonight. I'm not sure what time. Televerse, televerse.com to see Sharon Gless. Christine Lavin is in Philadelphia as part of the Philadelphia Folk Festival, appearing in the group The April Fools. That is today and tomorrow, so get yourself down there. Remember that, oh my gosh, you've got two more days, today and tomorrow, to see Danny Burston in the Broadway revival of Gypsy. It's closing. I think Audra is back in there. I think Montego Glover left so Audra could do the last week. I don't know, but Danny Burston, he's playing Herbie. It's at the Majestic Theater. You have just a couple more chances. Call Me Izzy has one more week to go. Now, the star of that is Jean Smart, but standing by for her, and she's gone on a couple of times, is Johanna Day, our friend of the Daverhood. That's over at Studio 54. Henry Naylor's play that he appears in, his solo show, Monstering the Rocket Man, is a Fringe First winner at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and it's running for another week at the Fringe. In fact, he just added an extra show because it's so popular. It's called Monstering the Rocket Man. And then Ned Van Zant's play at the Edinburgh Fringe called Del Valley, that is running through August 26th. You can hear the voice of Dick Cavett in the bioplay Jean and Gilda that is running at Penguin Repertory Theater. Well, they brought it to 59E59 theaters off Broadway. Daphne Rubin Vega is in Central Park doing Twelfth Night for the long-running and beloved Shakespeare in the Park. They put millions and millions of dollars into redoing and renovating the New York Shakespeare Public Theater Shakespeare Festival in Central Park in the Delacorte. So this is the first thing they're doing there, and Daphne Rubin Vega is in it. It's 12th Night. And then playing now through September 21st, Rachmaninoff and the Tsar, which is playing at the Writers Theater. It's another creation written by and starring Hershey Felder, but you have to go to Glencoe, Illinois to see it at the Writers Theater. Aladdin is on Broadway. The music there, of course, is by Alan Menken. Menken also wrote the music for Little Shop of Horrors, which is off-Broadway at the West Side Theater. Michael Garin plays piano Tuesdays through Saturdays at the Roxy Hotel in Tribeca. Jim Caruso's Cast Party every Monday night at Birdland. Get your tickets at birdlandjazz.com, which is also the place you can get tickets to see Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks Monday and Tuesday evenings with their show. Shout out to Evan Seplow, the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. Shout out to our friend David Sheward, the theater critic, who writes for CulturalDaily.com, TheaterLife.com, and our own TotalTheater.com. Vicky Quaggy, hugs out there. This was a kiss, but it was meant to be a hug. Doing Are You Smarter Than Your 8th Grade Nun, as well as Late Night Catechism, which she co-created in Chicago, and Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake doing Two on the Aisle. You can watch episodes and portions of episodes on YouTube. Look for Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake, both of them friends of the Daverhood, as is David Kenny, whose long-running cabaret musical theater and Great American Songbook radio show, Everything Old is New Again, airs Sunday evenings on WBAI Radio. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Well, if you thought you had enough of Rabbi Sol Solomon when he was interviewing Carole J. Bufford just moments ago, well, think again, because Rabbi Sol is back for a few minutes to continue the saga, because one of the segments that we do enjoy doing on this program is story time, where we share a story with you. And it's not a story I wrote or a story he wrote, if he wrote it being both Hebrew and Aramaic. But no, this is ostensibly in English. It's Spock, Messiah by Theodore Cogswell and Charles A. Spano Jr. He just finished chapter 1 last week, and I gotta say, so far it's a pretty good story. People complain about the book because Spock, apparently through most of it, isn't Spock-like. That's kind of the point. He's been taken over in some weird way, and people are disappointed. But I don't know. I'm not gonna be a big Star Trek fan, but how could you not gravitate towards a book called Spock, Messiah? And at least Rabbi Sol would gravitate toward the Messiah part. So, ladies and gentlemen, hallelujah! Rabbi Sol is coming back in the Daverhood to share with you more of Spock, Messiah. Shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is once again Rabbi Sol Solomon. Happy to be with you at this particular moment. I'm not a science fiction person. Well, I believe in the Bible, which, but no, I'm generally not a sci-fi. Ooh, ooh. I didn't know I could sing that high. See, I've also, like Dave, I've been eating kumquats to get rid of my phlegm. Pretty soon, I'm going to sound like this, but not yet. Anywho, I'm going to continue reading for Storytime. Actually, I should play the Storytime theme instead of my Jewy theme. This is Storytime theme.
Tell me a story, tell me a story.
All right, I think I will. And the story I'm going to tell you is Spock Messiah. We're going to begin chapter 2 of this Star Trek novel, which is roundly considered the worst of these Star Trek novels, despite the glorious title, despite not only Messiah, but with an exclamation point, which, it's the old version of what an emoji is now, or an emoticon. What we heard before is the crew, they're in the Enterprise, there's Spock, there's Kirk. If you don't know them, tune out, because I'm not going to explain. But everything's going fine, everything's normal, except something is not particularly normal. There's a problem with the DOP, and no idea what the hell a DOP, oh, there's a doppelganger thing. So they're trying to go into the minds of this other race to become them, to learn about them, and then leap out, but it's not so simple. Typical Star Trek stuff. And there's some blips on the radar thing, and people are starting to get worried. Chapter 2. As the turbo lift doors hissed open, Kirk stepped onto the bridge. Sulu, vacating the command chair, reseated himself at his helmsman's position. And I do love me some helmsman's mayonnaise. I screwed up the joke, I'm sorry. Report, Kirk ordered as he sat. Hellman, a tall, thin officer with close-cropped blonde hair and a protuberant Adam's apple. You know what they say about men with big Adam's apples. Straightened from the science console and turned toward the starship's captain. The radiation front has jumped to intensity 2.4 in the last hour, sir. At first, the increase looked like a random fluctuation, but when the computer had enough data to run a curve, it reported a possible condition red, which is when I recommended a yellow alert to Mr. Sulu. Hellman gestured at the science console, upon which glowed several red lights. Why they wouldn't call it a code red if it's red light? They should use yellow lights. Am I right? I'm right. The front, says this guy Hellman, has all the characteristics of a nova, but the local sun is still perfectly normal. Captain Kirk frowned. You can't have a radiation front without a source. Have you backtracked along its course? Aye, sir, Hellman replied, showing him his eye. The only star the coordinates fit is Epsilon Ionis. I dated a girl named Epsilon Ionis when I was meeting some Greek women. What is happening with my payas there? Here we go. The black hole binary. I'm not going to make that. Okay, we checked out last month. But how a nova shell could increase in intensity so rapidly, it's got me stumped, Captain, and there isn't enough applicable data in the computer to come up with a working hypothesis, end quote. You will continue to try to pin down the source. I don't know why my Shatner is turning into Dracula, but you will continue to try to pin down that source. But right now, I'm more concerned about the possible danger to this ship. We've got to get a more precise reading on the projected increase. Lieutenant Leslie, Kirk said, swinging his chair around to face the stocky engineer. You're going to find a lot of body-type stuff here, including some serious homoeroticism weirdness in this thing. But, sir, you and Mr. Sulu will tie in your banks, I told you, with the science console. I want exact data on the nature of that front. And I'm guessing the behind. A chorus of aye ayes sounded, and the officers turned to their consoles to feed in requests, collate incoming data, and to coordinate the operations of their stations. Ready, sir, Hellman said finally. Project, Kirk ordered. The image of Kairos disappeared from the great screen and was replaced by a grid on which each radiational component of the strange shell of energy was plotted on the ordinate against the abscissa of time. If you have any idea what that means, please write to me, and I'll send you a piece of herring. Hellman touched a button, and like glowing worms, the component projection lines began to creep across the screen, crawling forward through time and upward in intensity. So they're kind of going there. What a hash, Sulu muttered. That's my solo voice. It's almost as if we're running into a solar prominence. Oh my. I threw that in. Kirk watched intently as the ship's computers continued the projection. The readout is getting too complicated, he said. Blank everything but the hard radiation and high-energy particles, and give me a horizontal on hull shielding safety limits, which, if you're bringing in your Volvo or your Subaru, make sure they give you that horizontal on the hull shielding safety limits. The second science officer made a few adjustments, and the confusion on the screen began to clear as one by one the lines representing the lower frequencies and slower moving particles began to disappear, leaving only those charting lethal radiation, high energy protons, alpha particles, and heavy nuclei. And this was probably 1960s, so they were really heavy nuclei. Heavy man. Not funny, but I thought I'd say that joke anyway. The narrow red line marking the maximum limits of the shield's tolerance flashed on the screen. There was a dead silence on the bridge as the projection track of each component continued an unbroken climb towards the red line. Suddenly, each of the lines bent sharply and shot upward vertically, slashing the red line in dozens of places and continuing almost to the very top of the grid, before peaking and beginning an equally sharp decline. It's kind of like my mental state after age 50. The ship computer chimed softly, and the emotionless voice began to speak to the silent crew. Deflector shield activation necessary in 8 days, 13 hours, and 24 minutes, or radiation penetration will exceed 100 rad. And that's enough to put half the crew down with radiation sickness, Kirk muttered. At the rate those curves peak, Hellman said, nodding agreement with Kirk, a few more hours exposure would kill us all, right? Is a response required? The computer asked. We aren't going to be here long enough to make the answer more than academic, Kirk said. But as long as you have one, let's hear it. Data indicates that, unless corrective measures are taken, all crew members, with one exception, will receive a lethal dosage. And if you've ever been in the Army, you've got a lethal dose. By 2300 hours, stardate 6728.5. Who might be the exception? Kirk, as if he didn't know. Kirk asked, as if I couldn't guess. See, he did know. Commander Spock, said the computer. Vulcans are twice as resistant to radiations as humans. If an exact prediction of Commander Spock's resistance is desired, a tissue sample must be secured for molecular analyzation. I don't actually have a tissue sample with me, but I have a handkerchief sample, which is far more disgusting than a tissue sample. That figures, said a familiar voice sardonically. While the rest of us are heaving and watching our hair fall out, Spock and the computer will be playing three-dimensional chess. I'm not making this up. Okay. Kirk swung his chair about. Bones, he asked. What are you doing up here? I thought you had our sex pot in surgery. Dr. McCoy laughed. Ha ha! I had her on the table, just ready to give her a local. Okay, he's got a sex pot in surgery. I had her on the table, just ready to give her a local, when the yellow alert came through. Well, that's a boner crusher, ain't it? I thought I'd better report to the bridge to see if I was needed, so I told her to report back in the morning. I imagine she's hanging around the transporter room on the odd chance she might get lucky when Spock is beamed up. He paused and gestured at the visual monitor dominating the front of the bridge. Looks like some nasty stuff is on the way in. Sounded like there was some nasty stuff on the way in before he got interrupted. Nasty is an understatement, the captain said. He gazed at the screen thoughtfully for a moment. Ooh. In order to weather what will be coming in a few days from now, we have to put the shields up, and at the rate the storm is peaking, we have to put them on maximum before too long. Oh, a storm is threatening my very life today. Wow, this is a little bit of grabbing that from somewhere else. 20 hours of that and the power reserves would be exhausted. If we didn't pull out before then, we'd fry. Again, going back to McCoy's previous engagement, buying a few more hours would be pointless anyway. The transporters won't operate while the shields are up, and we've already gathered all the data on Kairos that can be obtained from orbit. There's nothing urgent about the survey. It's mainly a field test for the implants, which the sexpot already had a couple of those. Kirk swung his commander chair to his right. Lieutenant Uhura, we're getting out of here. Open a channel to Starfleet, give them our situation, and tell them we're leaving Kairos until things quiet down. Aye, sir, Uhura replied. She placed a hypertronic earphone on one ear and turned toward her console. In the meantime, Kirk was saying to McCoy, Spock and his department can pin down the reason for that intensity increase. Suddenly, he was interrupted by an exclamation from the communications officer. Captain, I've lost contact with Starfleet, Uhuru, because he talks just like that. Uhuru said, I sent out the standard signal. I don't know why she talks like Ed Wynn. But I listened for the recognition call. A blast of QRM nearly blew out my eardrum. I'm probably blowing out your eardrums. Malfunction, Lieutenant? Kirk asked. Checking now, sir, she replied. Hesitantly, she replaced the earphone and bent over her panel. Everybody watched her bend over the panel. After a full 5 minutes of rapid checking, not so rapid it took 5 minutes, she straightened. Negative, sir. Everything is in order, but there is something interfering on the subspace bands. That's impossible, Kirk said. Hellman, scan subspace and spread yourself on a bagel. The tall science officer bent over his console. Moments later, snapped upright with a look of surprise. Computer, he snapped. Check antenna and sensor circuits for malfunction. He swung. Everybody's swinging. He swung toward Kirk. Kirk swings. The sex pot is swinging in with everybody. He swung towards Kirk, who had come out of his chair at Hellman's order to the computer. Captain, you won't believe this. All subspace sensors fully operational, the computer said after a small pause. Put it on the main screen, Kirk ordered. As Hellman complied, it was Kirk's turn to feel surprise. The main screen showed a cloud-like formation, vast, pulsing, ominous. It seemed to swell visibly toward Kirk, expanding outward evenly in all directions. Throughout it, hot spots and radiation peak points flared with rapidity and in close proximity to one another. It seems as if the bridge crew was peering into the heart of an exploding sun. What is that? Kirk asked. Well, it's the heart of an exploding sun, don't you read? Hellman, looking puzzled, tried to answer, It's radiation, sir, and it must be a subspace aspect of the front we've been tracking, but what it's doing down there is beyond me. Captain, Chekhov said, it's moving toward us. I can't do Russian. Captain, it's moving toward us at warp 10. Kirk stared at Chekhov for a moment. Warp 10? He glanced back at the visual monitor. Whatever it is, Mr. Hellman, it's beyond me too. Looking at Chekhov, Kirk said, Prepare a course. Ensign 246, Mark 347, Mr. Sulu. We'll move out at warp factor 6 as soon as the survey party is aboard. Uhura, once we're out of this hash, again with a hash, he must be hungry, contact Starfleet, give them a position report, and transmit full information on this radiation. As the navigator and helmsman began laying in the course necessary to take the Enterprise out of harm's way, Kirk stabbed a button on the arm of the command chair. Transporter room, someone replied. This is the captain. Has the survey party been beamed up yet? No, sir, the transporter officer replied. They're waiting for Commander Spock. Lieutenant Dawson just checked in and said he's had no word from Mr. Spock all day. I was about to call you, sir. Kirk frowned at the news. Such behavior was completely uncharacteristic for the precise, punctual science officer. Kirk immediately was afraid something had happened to his Vulcan friend. Activate his Tingler circuit. Yeah. One wonders men alone on a spaceship, how often they've activated each other's tingler circuits. Send him the emergency recall signal, Kirk ordered. I'll keep the communicator open. Let me know as soon as he acknowledges. Tingler circuit? Uhura asked curiously. What's that? Another idea of the Cultural Bureau, Kirk replied. An audible signal on the communicators might create a problem in crowded space. So they came up with a tiny implant that's hooked into a branch of the wearer's sciatic nerve. Oh, you've got a lot of nerve to say you are, my friend. When activated, it causes a tingling sensation. The wearer... I bought one of these in a shop for my wife one day. The wearer then finds a private place, oh yes, and answers the call. If that would take time, the communicator also includes a new circuit. By pushing a button, the wearer can at least acknowledge receiving the signal. But, so far, Spock has done neither. Kirk finished on a worried note. No! Gadgets in the head, gadgets in the body, grumbled Dr. McCoy. By the time survey gets through talking gadgets inside of us, we'll all be walking machines, I think. The surgeon was interrupted by the urgent voice of the transporter officer. Rogers again, sir, the officer said. There's been no reply from Mr. Spock. Kirk glanced at McCoy. The doctor's eyes were wide. Ooh. Hone in on his communicator, Lieutenant, Kirk ordered tightly. Then notify Dawson of his coordinates. I want him to get his party to wherever Spock is on the double. Kirk punched another button, not even acknowledging Rogers. Aye, sir. Security, Kirk here. Commander Pulaski, sir, replied the security officer. They were from everywhere. Get a security team to exosociology. You know, I took that in college. Have them outfitted in Kyrosian clothing and issue phasers. Double check to be sure they're set on low intensity stun. We may have to beam down for a rescue operation, and I want a minimum amount of force. Aye, aye, Captain, Pulaski replied, switching off, but since he's Polish, he accidentally switched it on. Do you think that will be necessary, Jim? McCoy asked. I hope not. Bones, I hope not. We're going to stop there in this thrilling adventure of Spock Messiah. Now, wait a minute. Now, David's wife is here. She's been listening to this. She's shaking her head with a sour expression on her face. You don't find this exciting and thrilling and scary and scientifically fictional? No, she's just shaking her old head. Well, at the very least, we're going to read chapter 4. The rest of chapter 2. Next time that we are in the Daverhood with more of Storytime and more of Theodore Cogswell and Charles Spano's Spock Mashiach here in the Daverhood. Meanwhile, I am Rabbi Sol Solomon, of blessed memory, telling you, go to my website, shalomdammit.com, shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. You can read my sermons. You can watch my stage show. You can watch my TV show. You can do a whole lot of things that I can't even talk about on the air. Shalomdammit.com. Remember, I also have an X feed, but leaving the pornography aside, it's a Twitter feed at Rabbi Sol Solomon. At Rabbi Sol Solomon. That is my name. It is delightful to be here with you on this Shabbos morning. I have to turn the program back over to David to finish up the show. I think he's got a limerick for you. So it remains for me to wish you a happy middle to late summer for you now. A lot of you little kinderlach are going back to school. You have my sympathy and my empathy, but not my money, so that's okay. Wishing you the best, wishing all of you a very, very fine weekend, and shalom to you.
Tell me a story, remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would. You gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's just getting so exciting and so thrilling, isn't it? We're reading Spock. I don't know, I'm engaged. You don't find it compelling at the very least? I'm getting a little bit of a nod there from my wonderful missus who helps me out with the program, who's doing all those sound effects, who also helps with so many other things in my life. Love you, dear. We still have one more thing to do in the Daverhood before we get going on this side. We're going to end, for once, a little bit early, the program, because we've got stuff to do, but not before, certainly not before we get poetic, before we elevate, because we've been doing, serious literature here, right? And we talked about musical theater and great American songs, right? So why not elevate the culture even higher to poetry? And what I'm talking about, of course, is our weekly Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Because we lived in Colorado for about a decade, I took it into my brain head to think of as many poems based on names of Colorado's cities, towns, little burgs, unincorporated communities, even ghost towns, any way that I could put together a 5-line poem that is hopefully clever, amusing, and of course, evil, vile, and disgusting. And today is Anyway, we're going to Calhan, Colorado for our limerick this week. Calhan, Colorado. Never heard of it? I'll tell you about it.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme, and likewise verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Rocky Mountain High, Colorado, where I get high on the beauty of poetry, the symmetry of a well-crafted limerick, and the limericks that I write as well. Now, Calhan, Colorado, we need more Calhan. Calhan is a statutory town. I don't even know what that is, but there's statutes about it, and there's probably pigeons that poop on those statutes. In El Paso County, which is off Highway 24, it's about 30 miles from Colorado Springs. And last they checked, which was a few years ago, the population was about 762 people. In fact, Calhan is the highest non-mountain town in the United States. So it's, even though it's not mountainous, must be up about 2 miles then, because of course Denver is already a mile high. There's tons of land, albeit it's rather spread out. In the 1880s, Calhan served as a water station for the railroads that were coming through. In fact, it was named for railroad executive Michael Calhan, and yet at some point they decided to drop one of the A's out of his name, and they did the middle one, because otherwise it would be Calhan or Calhan. So Calhan kind of made the most sense, I guess. And what you can see there now are the paint mines, or is the Paint Mines Interpretive Park, where you can go and see painted rocks. Okay. It's Colorado, it's not New York City. Okay. And there's also, and this looks really, really cool, Cadillac Jack's Antique Store, which has a bunch of one-of-a-kind finds, like authentic old Ronald McDonald statues and stuff like that. Anyway, the other thing that you can find in and around Calhan is the annual El Paso County Fair, featuring bull riding and Texas Hold'em and all the kinds of things that you would see at these kinds of county and state fairs. Well, that's all. There's really more than you need to know about Calhan, Colorado, except that I've written a poem about it, a limerick, a naughty one, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. A jewel thief in hiding in Calhan thought, here's the deception I shall plan. If my mouth won't hold a fistful of gold, then maybe my anal canal can. Please send your comments, complaints, and everything else to davesgoneby@aol.com. Dave's Gone By, that's the name of the show, davesgoneby@aol.com. You can also message me right on the Facebook page, or if you want to post under one of our shows on Facebook, we can read your stuff there too. I try and reply to everything I get if I have the time, but I certainly do read everything right down to the last thumbs up and emoji and raised middle finger. So please let me know what you think of the show, your suggestions, your thoughts, and tell other people about this program, which airs every Saturday, 9 until noon or thereabouts. Today we're early thereabouts, on the Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. Remember that all our older shows, and remember we've had 994 of them, almost every single one is available at davesgoneby.com to download and or stream. davesgoneby.com. We also put our archives at archive.org. We have a channel right there, a little Daverhood of our own on archive.org. It's the same material as on davesgoneby.com. In fact, sometimes it's a little bit better quality because we can upload higher res versions of our video shows. But really, you can watch it at davesgoneby.com, archive.org, the interviews, the shows, the special segments. It's all there at both places. Or if you just want to hear the program, you don't need to look at me for 3 hours, well, just go to castbox.fm. We have a channel or a station there, if you will, castbox.fm, audio only, but it's great for, if you want to hear the show as a podcast. So lots of ways to keep track of the show. We also, of course, have a YouTube channel with the same material. Most of our archives are there, just some of it has been muted in certain countries for copyright things back when we were playing music. But really, start at davesgoneby.com or our Facebook page. You can't go wrong. Well, it's 11:30 in the morning Eastern time here in the Daverhood, and time to leave the Daverhood for this fine and lovely week. I know, but we hope to be back next week with the 6th episode of the Dave's Gone By, Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream. One more thank you to Carole J. Bufford. Go see her in Too Darn Hot at Florida Studio Theater in Sarasota, Florida. It is playing now through the middle of September. Get your tickets at floridastudiotheater.org. And at her website, you can find out more about her and get her CDs. Carole, and that's an E on the end of Carole, Carole J. Bufford.com. And there's no periods anywhere. I think she's a little too old to have a period, but there's no periods anywhere in that. Couldn't resist, could I? Thank you to her. Thank you to my darling and wonderful and amazing wife for all her love and help. Thank you to you guys for tuning in, for telling people about this program and sharing it and watching it and giving it thumbs ups and likes on Facebook and YouTube. Every single bit means something to me, and I really do appreciate that. Okay, time to roll out of the Daverhood. Wish you a fine week ahead. Stay cool, stay busy in a good way, enjoy. You still have a month of summer. If you're not a teacher, if you're not a professor, you still got plenty of time to enjoy the summer. So go do it. The rest of us, we're stuck. But either way, thanks for being with us in the Daverhood.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone by.